All right. Now, this is
Oh dear.
this is very interesting. Also, I feel like I'm podcasting for the very first time back in 2012 or whatever it was because well, Jez is you're in a hotel room on a different
I
mic,
am. I
on a
am.
wireless mic. Jez, make sure to monitor
Yes.
chat to see what people are saying about how it sounds because right
Okay.
when I was about to do the show, getting ready, getting everything prepared, I have my mic set up on a Rhodes boom mic that I use. Right, I use to do the podcast and make videos, and then when it's not in use, I kind of turn it to the side so it's not in my way. And well, when I went to bring it in front of me, it completely broke. The metal just like sheared off at the bottom. My hands were in the middle, so like if anybody knows what a Rhodes thing looks like, it's like I don't even know how to explain it. It's like these two metal bars, but like I had my hands in the middle of it because I was moving it, and it literally clamped on my fingers. And I thought I was about like I, I started to panic because like that shit can clamp fast and hard. So I'm like, I'm about to lose my motherfucking fingers to this fucking Rhodes mic thing because it just. But all's well. I didn't lose my fingers. However, I no longer have like a place to situate my mic. So I just have my mic literally sitting on my desk, laying on it, with it plugged into the PC and my headphones in it, and that's it. Like, there's nothing else here. It's literally just sitting on my desk. I have no other way to prop this thing up. So hopefully it sounds okay. I can't tell. I can't really do anything else either because now it's like this mic's in the way. So yeah, that's how my day's going. Hopefully everybody else's day is a little bit better. I almost lost my fingers, and now I have to buy something to replace this, and I feel like I'm podcasting back in 2010.
Well, people are asking if I'm calling on the phone. The answer is
Yeah, well,
yes.
kind of,
Well,
yes.
yeah, I also feel like I'm podcasting back in the day because my girlfriend reminded me that so I bought a Rode mic here to use with the podcast, but for some reason I couldn't get it to connect, and I was just like, I can't. We don't have time. I don't have time to figure this out now. So I just thought, okay, gonna have to use my Bluetooth headphones, which is the microphone you're hearing right now. Let us know if the audio levels are good, like at least that we're similar in volume. So let us know in chat. But my girlfriend reminded me that I used to do the podcast on like a $5 3.5 millimeter microphone, back in the day. So this is officially the old school podcast,
Yeah,
I guess.
I guess. I mean, I think the audio should be fine. It's just that I'm also further away from a mic than I usually am. Usually I'm like right up in it, and like because it's down on the desk, I'm sitting a little bit further
Yeah.
away, so I may not be as loud. So I've kind of tried to make it so that, the decibel levels are lower, I guess, or higher, whatever way you want to say it. So I sound louder, but not really sure if that's coming across well. I mean, it seems like it's okay in the OBS mixer, but yeah, Jez podcasting from a hotel, calling in, and technical issues all here. So now I got to go spend like $100 on a mic stand again. But I mean, it served me well. I did buy it in 2018, so I guess it's like did its duty. It's funny because Jez was like, "Are you getting in here for a sound check?" I'm like, "Dude, I don't know if I can do this shit." Like all these things just went wrong. And Jez is like, "Sigh." He's like, and he's like shows me a picture of like his mic, and I'm just like, "Well, I guess I can do this. Whatever, we'll try." But I don't think we're gonna be able to do this for long because Jez is which by the way, we should all say congratulations because Jez actually asked his girlfriend to marry him, and she said yes.
I did.
A round of applause for Mr. Cordy.
Yay! Yes, we are officially engaged after
Yes.
13 and a half years.
About time.
Not
Surprised she
bad, eh?
stayed with you for 13 years. Most women would have given up after 5.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, we did. We did it. We did it, chat. We got engaged before GTA 6 launched.
Yes.
Hey, we got Josh Stein in the chat.
Oh, Mr.
Thanks to
Stein.
everyone who was yeah, there were so many cool people saying congrats on social media. Thanks to everyone who sent nice messages. Really appreciate it. But yeah, we are officially engaged. I never thought this day would come, but lo and behold,
Officially
we pulled it off,
engaged,
chat.
on vacation, and he's podcasting from his hotel room. And true to form, Xbox did drop some news. And also true
Oh
to
god, yes,
form,
they
it's usually never good news, unfortunately.
did.
So, do we
You
want
can
Jez to
say
go
that
on
again.
vacation? I don't know.
Yeah. Every time I go on vacation, and I did remark last week that is it because like I usually go on vacation after Summer Game Fest, which is when Microsoft's fiscal year ends. But I realized that that wasn't the case when I went to Japan, and it wasn't the case when I went to Iceland, and that was the time like all the other drama happened. So I don't know. I do think Microsoft's just waiting for me to go on vacation to drop all the bad news. That's the conspiracy theory I'm choosing to believe right now.
Okay. Anyways.
Oh well. Anyways.
Like, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that did actually happen this week.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's
I
been a
mean,
busy week.
like, from GTA 6 pre-orders to major layoffs at Bungie to I think Steam Machine. Even the Steam Machine prices were revealed this week, right?
Yes, they were.
So a lot of things happening. And like I said, I think this is going to be a short show because Jez is on vacation with his girlfriend. So, I mean, let's get right into it. Do some house cleaning. This episode is brought to everybody by Surfshark. We do have the sponsorship with
Idiot.
them. 86% off, a 2-year deal. Links in the description, all that good stuff. No ad read today
Yep.
from them. We'll be back probably next month with something from them. But we do have the wonderful patrons who are in the MVP, the Xbox 2 MVPs. The question and answer thread is up for anybody that wants to drop a question, although keep it brief so we can get through this episode quickly. We got Adam Bartolo, Alan Grogu, Asa T and Madison, Battered Haddock, Bricks Country, Bright Tundra 1, Silas, Deku 2511, Discarded Caboose, Annex, Fantasticals, Glenn, Governor Grimm, I am Chuck Dub, I'm Mike Zero, Inner Machine, Jay Foley, James Moore, James Wiseau, Justin Duel, Just James 93, Katrax, Laser Wolf, Murray, Pat Rock, Frosty, R.S. Donk, Sean Kramer, Shay Elephant, Shrapnel, the Nordic Cannon, Trickster for Trey, Mr. Vito. I'm going to skip on saying his last name because I always screw it up. Wagerman, Wolfgang KPZ, and Young Blood 8. Thank you guys for your continued support of the show. Where do you want to begin, Jez? You know where I want to begin? Briefly, because
I don't know where you want to begin.
I didn't really talk about it last week at all because there was a lot to talk about. But I did finish 007 First Light.
Oh, cool.
Now that
what's your rating?
Either my second favorite game of the year or my third favorite, depending on where it ends up. I think it's slightly behind Pragmata for me. But I loved this game. Like, loved. So I'd probably give it a 9. It didn't
Yeah, I
really hit
think
like
I got
10
it
for
now.
me, but I'd give it that like 4.5 out of 5 or 9 out of 10 rating. Like, I was transfixed from the very beginning with that very unique like training prologue. Like, I don't think I've ever seen that, like the way, when you play his games as much as we do, you always sort of like roll your eyes at the tutorial section when it's like teaching you the controls and everything you got to do, and it never really seemed like it's been improved much. but
No.
I can't remember a more interesting and unique like tutorial section than this game has, which
And like
I
it
thought
was like a
fit.
cinematic training montage, like
Yeah.
Rocky, or and when I was doing it, I suppose part of it is like, okay, they can do that because we've got SSDs now, and that can skip between different scenes really quickly, like montage style. But also, like we've had this for a while now, and I was sitting there thinking, like, why has nobody thought of doing this before? This is like the perfect way to do a
Well,
tutorial,
I
like the
think
whole training
also it fits because
montage thing.
it's a training montage and he's in training, right? So, I
Yeah,
don't necessarily think it could work for the next game because this is like, hey, he's not the James Bond yet. He's not 007 yet. So he kind of has like a training montage where it shows you everything, but
they could do
um
a flashback. They could do a flashback to his early days, and he's like
I
reminiscing.
mean
I don't know.
this was the flashback. I mean, he's basically like a kid
Oh
when
yeah,
at the
true.
very beginning, but I mean everything from the cinematics, the way that's all directed, to the story, to the gameplay. Like when people talk about like the what fusion of games it is, to me it was a fusion of Hitman meets Uncharted meets Watch Dogs, right? Like it sort of there was like a three-tier element to the game where it's like you'd have a big area to go into, like a big hotel or a place like that, and you'd have like the social stealth elements of Hitman where you could walk around, you could find disguises, you could, you know, do all that social stealth that Hitman's really well known for. But then because of your gadgets like that Q gives you, where you have the glasses and you have the different like abilities, like the pen that shoots out like a missile or the trank dart or any of those sort of things, it reminded me a lot of Watch Dogs 2. Like, Watch
Mhm.
Dogs 2, you could hack a lot of stuff. So there's always that like overlay over it, which is kind of like you're always sort of using the phone here to distract enemies or get them out of the way. So I kind of felt it melded that. And then you would have the over the top action set pieces, usually kind of situated towards the end of a level because it was very much like super fast paced for the action set pieces because I don't know if they didn't want you to like where like oh James Bond can like tank all this stuff, but it was definitely designed to be like you're constantly on the move, right? You take somebody out really quickly, you grab his gun, you shoot the next guy, you kind of like move on, so it's super quick, like how maybe James Bond
Combat
would
was
actually.
amazing.
So that was
They
always a
they
lot of fun.
adapted they adapted the Batman Arkham stuff really well into the sort of contextual cinematic. I'm just going to grab this coffee cup off the table and throw
Oh
it.
yeah.
All that kind of stuff. Like it felt so dynamic in combat. I almost didn't want to stealth at times because I was just like punching people with random objects is just hilarious.
No,
The game was
that's a lot
fantastic.
of fun.
I
That's a lot
absolutely
of
loved
fun.
it.
But
Yeah, I
like
loved
I
it.
usually always try to play stealth games to be able to get through an area without being seen. But for whatever reason, this game did it in such a way where I didn't care if I got caught because, like you
Yeah.
mentioned, it was as much fun beating people up or using your gadgets to uh, take them out. And then it wasn't like, oh, you got caught, so now the entire map knows you're here, right? It was like maybe you had to take down two or three people, and it was situation contained, and it was like, oh, cool, now I'm
Yeah,
back to
situation
stealth.
contained.
It wasn't like now
I love that.
everybody in this area is like, oh, he's over there, and you're screwed, and you gotta play action. It's like
Yeah.
you gotta take out a couple people, and now we're back. And it sort of felt like that's how Bond would be. Like Bond's not always super
It's
stealthy
not
Sam
full stealth.
Fisher where he
No.
goes through everything and never gets caught. It's like, yeah, I'll do some of that stuff, and then somebody sees him, and he has like a quick like quip, and he punches him in the face and moves on. So yeah, it's very highly impressive from IO Interactive. I did see that it was like the number one best selling game of the month, well, even though it came out at the end
Good.
of the month, which is pretty impressive for it. So I'm looking
Pretty
forward to
impressive. And it's
sequels.
one of the I think they said it's the fourth best selling game of the year so far.
It's pretty good. I
I
mean, they
think
did
that's
say he had Did they announce like 3 million sales or 4 million? I know they announced like 2.7 million or whatever it was, like
Yeah,
the
it's
first
pretty
day.
good
But
stuff. What concerns me is the Amazon head of direct publishing or whatever. He said something like, "Oh, we'll see what happens with who makes the next game," or he said something like, "Oh, we'll definitely publish the next game because IO self-published this. Like, I actually got this through ID at Xbox. So yeah, believe it or not, technically 007 is technically an ID at Xbox game, which is wild. But Amazon's head of publishing was like, "Oh yeah, we'll publish the next one. We'll make the next one. We'll see what happens," or something like that. As people started freaking out, and they're like, "Oh, Amazon's going to try and make it themselves without IO Interactive." And I was just like, I think I had a semi-viral tweet where I was just like, "Amazon, if you take this out of IO Interactive's hands, I ain't going to buy it. I ain't going to buy it."
yeah,
Because I think that the reason the game did so damn well is because of IO Interactive. I think if Amazon had made this themselves with one of their like studios,
what
like
studios
whatever
did they don't
studios they've
have
got,
any
like,
studios?
and they've got like a couple, but I don't know what they're even doing anymore. Um, they've got that studio that made. Is it that new Tomb Raider games made by Amazon,
I
or
mean,
did
this
they
yeah,
outsource
it's
that?
published, but Crystal Dynamics making it. They're owned by Embracer. I don't think they
Oh
have any
right, okay.
studios,
Do
so
they not have a? What are the New World Studios? That shut down now. I can't
I
remember.
don't
I
know.
lose track. So many layoffs. Kind of lose track of it all. But yeah, I do hope that it goes back once again to IO Interactive. I think IO Interactive did a fantastic job, and I suppose huge congrats to them. I guess I hope we see more of it because I enjoyed this game more than I've enjoyed a lot of the movies. To be honest, I think it's absolutely fantastic way for James Bond to show up.
Yeah, it was nice, decent length as well. Felt like you got your
Yeah,
money's worth. Um,
true
you
that.
know, when I say that, and I saw some reports today because I know you bought this game, the Star Fox game, which is apparently 2 hours long. So hopefully you get your money's worth on that, Jez.
It's 2 hours long.
Supposedly,
Are you shitting me?
I
I bought a
mean,
whole I bought a whole Nintendo Switch for that fucking game.
I mean, yeah, it's like anywhere between an hour to 3 hours.
Are you? Nah, you're trolling
I
me.
mean, chat, let Jez know. I mean, I'm pretty sure. I mean, how long was the original game? Wasn't the original game short as
I
shit? It's an
mean,
arcade game meant to be replayed a whole bunch of times, isn't it? Isn't that the whole thing of it?
yeah,
So I
yeah,
mean,
it was short.
2 hour. I mean, you bought a whole system for a 2 hour game. How do you feel?
I I feel I feel depressed, frankly.
I mean, you're gonna play Ocarina of Time when it comes out, right?
Yes, I am going to play Ocarina of Time. So there is a lot of nostalgia to be had. I've got all the Metroid games downloaded. There's a lot of nostalgia to be had out of the Switch too, but you know how many hours I've used it since I bought it? About a month ago now, a month or two.
How many?
Do you know? I've used it for about 2 hours so far. I
Money well spent. Money
kidding myself.
well spent.
Uh, I've put like I've put more hours into Avowed on the Xbox Ally than total hours on the Switch in total since I bought it.
It's funny because I read your tweet about Avowed, and you're having the same experience that I had, where like combat and exploration are like the high points of the game, but like the story and the stuff is kind of just like eh. It's like
The
eh.
ro- the dialogue is so dry. It's so fucking dry. So like that's the game I've been playing. Before we move into like the deep topics, I'll just mention Avowed because I I thought like I want to see if Avowed is I don't know because the Avowed seems controversial. Some people say it's terrible. Some people say they're really. So I thought like what games do I have that run pretty well on the Xbox Ally X, and one of them is Avowed. So I thought I'd give it a go. And I think it was you told me to try and push through the intro because the intro is really slow and dull, and the characters are cringe, and I don't know. I just yeah. But like once you get into the first area and start like treating it more like an exploration game, an action game, I actually started to really enjoy it. Like the exploration is so rewarding. The areas are so they've got that handcrafted feel, kind of like Baldur's Gate does, where like you explore a part of the map that looks like it's meant to be explored, like a waterfall or something. There'll be a cave there, and it's like, oh, I can destroy this wall. And now I'm swimming underground, and like I found a chest with a unique handcrafted weapon in. Like the weapons in the game aren't like procedurally generated, so it feels like there's something to find, there's something to explore. So I've been enjoying it as an action game, but fuck me, the dialogue is so bad. The dialogue is so bad. I mean, it's just
Do you have a noise
it
gate
feels
on?
noise gate. I don't think so.
Because I'm noticing the end of your sentences tend to be getting clipped.
Ah, shit. Let me have a look in the Discord settings, but yeah, like the point is like you were. I think that I just kind of joined consensus where it's just like the writing isn't very interesting. I don't really care about the characters so far, even though your companion is Garrus from Mass Effect, which
That
is
is true.
cool, I guess.
I mean, he's a
He's Garrus,
he's
right?
a cool companion. He's Garrus.
Yeah,
He's
he's cool.
I mean, I used him.
Yeah. Okay, I've got noise suppression turned on, so can I put that on standard? Maybe that'll be better. I don't know. Um, see, tell me how that is. Like, we'll see if that gets clipped or not. We'll try that. But yeah, the whole Avowed thing, like I'm enjoying the game. I'm enjoying the lore as well because I am someone who played Pillars of Eternity. So I'm getting a little bit more out of it than I think some people who haven't played Pillars might get out of it. But everything just felt soft and safe and pedestrian. Like all the systems feel basic, the dialogue feels basic. The thing that's really saving it for me right now is the exploration and the combat. Like the combat's really good. It's really fun throwing fireballs out and setting a room on fire and then all the enemies walk through the fire, all that kind of stuff. Like I enjoy that, but I just kind of feel like it doesn't visually it's very impressive compared to the Outer Worlds. But it doesn't reach further than the Outer Worlds. Like I felt like the Outer Worlds had better writing, the original Outer Worlds, and a better sort of choice and consequence systems. So it kind of feels like where did they go wrong here? Like if it had the writing quality of the Outer Worlds, which wasn't wasn't spectacular, but it was a lot better than this. I don't know. I just kind of wish like they reached a bit further. Like people have high standards these days, and I don't think people don't want to pay full price for double A, and I think that's really what happened with Avowed. But I don't know. Maybe rumor is, Rand, there's an Avowed 2 being made. That's the rumor. Don't know how true that'll be, but I would have thought the Outer Worlds had more potential than Avowed as a franchise, but maybe Avowed sold better than we think. I don't know.
Well, I
Yeah,
think
all
partially
I've
it's
been.
because we got a sequel to Outer Worlds, and it didn't do well.
True.
While I think Avowed, there's still potential there. So it's like, yeah, we did Outer Worlds 2, and it was multi-platform day one, and it didn't really seem like anybody cared.
True
Which,
that.
who do you blame for that? The developers for how they made the game, Xbox for the way they marketed. I mean, they didn't help it by saying, "Hey, by the way, Outer Worlds 2, you're $80." And then they had to walk that
Yeah,
back real
yeah.
fast because nobody cared. And everybody was like, "Nah, I don't think so." I'm not really sure they ever recovered from that, to be quite honest with you. Um,
Yeah, it was. I mean, it kind of dovetails into one of our topics that you've got there in the title. Will Xbox, I suppose, and PlayStation recover from this absolutely insane price route we're seeing going on for
yeah, I
all
mean
consumer tech right now?
that's I mean that's the big story of the week. I mean outside of the GTA stuff, which we'll talk about because I'm sure it'll dovetail into the conversation. Uh, price raises. It's funny. You know what's funny? There's all right. Tell me if you think I'm crazy, okay? Tell me if you think I'm nuts. Because I sort of feel that both PlayStation and Xbox used the GTA pre-orders as a way to kind of slide in some bad news to try to get underneath the radar a little bit. Do you think I'm crazy? Because like pre-orders were supposed to start
Mm.
on like midnight on the 25th or whatever on a Thursday. And just so happens that's when PlayStation begins the layoffs at Bungie and Xbox raised the price of their consoles on a Thursday when usually bad news tends to drop on a Friday. Ah, there's a part of me that thinks like they tried to use
Tinfoil.
GTA to like kind of cover their tracks. Be like, oh, people won't really talk about this because they're going to be talking about the Ultimate Edition of GTA 6 and how the game's really $100, but you know they have the $80 version there for shits and giggles, and everybody's going
I
crazy
think it's
about it.
possible.
I mean, is it because it was like Sony was like, all right, we're basically 300 people are gone from Bungie, uh, admitting that Destiny 2 underperformed and Marathon's still important, even though they lay off a bunch of people at Marathon. And then like people were like, and Xbox was like, hold my beer. And it's like, by the way, we're raising our prices $150. And I'm just sitting there, and it's funny because last week we talked about this. And I think both me and you said, yeah, the Xbox is going to raise prices of their consoles again sometime this year. I did not think it would be this soon. Um,
Mm.
I mean, they basically like Asha laid it out in her thing not that long ago, where she talked about components being what double the price of what they were, and whatever it was. And I'm like, well, they're definitely like laying the foundation of why they have to essentially raise the price of these consoles with people. It's just kind of like how they laid the foundation with the upcoming layoffs and stuff when they talked about like tough times ahead and blah 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 blah, right? It's like all in there black and white for people to read. I just didn't think it would happen so soon. And considering we just got the results back from Circana, where May just past May was the lowest May in the history of Xbox console sales wise, and
Yeah.
PlayStation's was the lowest May since the year 2000. And you're just
What console was even in the year
that.
2000?
I
Was
mean,
that
that's the
PS2?
PS. No, it's the PS1 because the PS2 came out fall
Jeez.
the fall of 2000, right? Because the Xbox was the next year in 2001. So that would have been like right before the PS2 came out.
That's
So it's
crazy.
like, okay, so Sony's really feeling, and of course they would, because a lot of people already own a PlayStation, right? I mean, it's almost like 100 million, and now the thing's $650 or whatever it is, and the Pro's like some outrageous price, almost at $1,000. So it's like, yeah, like nobody's like jumping off, nobody's jumping and driving to the store like bringing up Amazon, being like, I got to get a PlayStation real quick. And then Xbox, dude, I swear, they know, like, they have to know how bad it is. And I know they know how bad it is because they wouldn't even give you the new prices in their Xbox Newswire update blog. They didn't even say what they were. They just said, "Oh, we're raising the ones $100 and the other one 150," but they wouldn't even tell you the new prices because they
They
because
look
they
bad.
knew how bad they were. They couldn't even put it down in writing. And then it got so bad they had to discontinue the 2 terabyte one because the 2 terabyte one was like already
That was
eight
going to go
hundred
to
bucks or
1,000.
whatever it was. And now I'm sitting here
Do you think?
thinking,
Do you think the 2 terabyte would have gone to 1,000?
probably. And now I'm thinking, oh, that nice little 25th anniversary limited edition Xbox that's going to be coming out this fall. One, how many of those are they making? And then two, how much is that going to be? Because right now the Series X is. So the pricing is what? What's the actual pricing, Jess? So we get this down for everybody who's listening. Because I don't have any of my notes because everything kind of went to shit with my
Everything's chaotic. Yeah. Give me a
mic
sec.
stand, whatever. I think it's this the
I've got it. I've
series.
got it. I've got it.
Okay.
So, uh, um, the Xbox Series S 512 gigabytes is now $500, which is the price of the Xbox Series X from back in the day,
Jesus
I think.
Christ.
The Xbox Series S 1 terabyte is now $600.
Jesus. What are
That's
these?
supposed to be the affordable one. The Xbox Series X digital is $749.99, and the Series X is $800. And those are
$800, ladies and gentlemen.
$800.
$800.
$800.
So how much is the limited edition going to be? 900 when it comes out? 1,000 when it comes
Oh,
out?
God knows. Like, I'm just sort of. I mean, you were joking about how Xbox didn't want to put it down on paper. Reading that off Windows Central just now and seeing it properly, because I've been paying attention, but I've been on vacation, so I haven't been like fully paying attention. But seeing it there in black and white now with the $799.99 is just kind of like, what the fuck? It's like it's kind of so in now. It's like, what the hell, man? How did we get here? How did we get
Well,
here?
I mean,
Like, there is no universe where that's going to be worth it for
there's no
most people.
dude, there's like you literally just came off a month with the new prices where it's just the worst ever. And now you raise prices again? I what is the goal here? Okay, like there are some people out there that were pointing like, hey, maybe Xbox should sort of take a hit, this fall, right, with GTA 6 and how anticipated it's going to be with not on last gen, also Call of Duty not on last gen. You finally have some people on last gen that need to upgrade, so why not maybe take some sort of hit or not raise prices again and to get people into the ecosystem, and then next year raise the prices through the roof because, well, Helix is coming or what have you, and just being like, we'll take it now. But now it's like they raise the prices again, and there's still reports that like consoles are going to be completely sold out by the end. So maybe it doesn't even matter. Maybe they're looking at it like we are looking to be selling all our consoles regardless of the price. I don't really know, because when you take a look at what the console prices are, and then you take a look at like what Matthew Ball said when he got hired, when he wants to like whatever, I even forget what he even said, but it was along the lines of like making the console strong and doing all these sort of things, which was like, I don't know if he's talking about other countries, but like, I'm sorry, but like with these prices, why who's the audience for this at this stage of the game? Like,
Well, I suppose like the the problem they've got is that they're losing hundreds of dollars per box right now, right? They're losing hundreds of dollars per box. So I suppose for them, it's better to sell less without losing money than to sell, like, if you're selling like, say for example, if you sell like 1 million Xbox Series X's and you lose $200 per console, that's millions of
sure, yeah.
dollars. You're in the red. so they've kind of got no choice on the one hand. On the other hand, they are putting up the prices from August the 1st. So you've got a month to get in at the old price.
Whoop-de-doo-dah.
So maybe this is.
Yeah, but nobody even
Yeah.
cares now. We just said is the worst May ever for them. And I'm sure June's going to
Yeah,
be
but
the
they
worst
didn't.
June
They
ever.
didn't know.
Well, I mean, dude.
I suppose what's going to happen is they're going to sell through. There's going to be like a panic, probably a bit of a panic buying situation where people rush to buy for GTA, rush to buy any console they can get their hands on for GTA, potentially in the short term. But this is like in the sort of medium term where we're trying to wait for memory prices to become sane again. We're going to be subsidizing the platform, people who've already got a console. So because they can't grow the platform anymore, they're going to have to do things to people who are already in the ecosystem like us, which is things like $80 games, price hikes for Game Pass, because they've still got to grow. They've still got to stay ahead of inflation.
But they can't do price hikes for Game Pass. They did one and then reverted it. They ain't fucking raising prices again. She just talked about how it's finally getting stabilized and actually growing again. You telling me that then they're going to raise it again?
what if they got no choice? Like I just play devil's advocate. Like
Okay, we
what
play
the
devs.
line goes up,
Sure, sure,
and
sure. I
what
get it. Line goes up,
to,
but I mean, come on now.
make line goes up. I mean, did you see some of the drama in Overwatch recently? They released a skin for Overwatch that was like $30 or something, and the community's up in arms about that. It's that kind of thing. Like to grow the platform, they're gonna have to like price gouge all the people that are already in the ecosystem,
But
which does mean
that
like what Grand Theft Auto is doing with the $100 bundle, which gives you access to the extra stores and stuff like that. Like, is that like the skins in Halo Master Chief in campaign evolved, which make no fucking sense because there's no multiplayer. So that you only see
well,
the
you know what
skins in
doesn't make
co-op or if you play in
you
third
know what doesn't
person.
make sense is that like the skins that they have that you can buy or whatever, they don't even show up in the cutscenes.
Exactly.
Which is like if you're gonna use the and they thought well they want the I forget what their exact reasoning was, but it was like to preserve the integrity of it or whatever. But it's like, bro, you have all these weird ass like skins that people are buying. Like, why not put them into the actual cutscene so you can actually see them? Like, there's weird decisions made with that. But okay, like
It
sure,
does, but my point about bringing that up is it feels desperate. They put the skins in Halo as an excuse to sell a more expensive bundle for
sure.
anyone who's just like willing to spend, for people
Hey,
who've got more money than sense, I
it's
suppose.
like we don't have the multiplayer to really sell this as a full fledged product, but we can pack in a whole bunch of skins and shit and make it seem like it's $50 instead of like a $30 game or whatever. That's another whole like
It's
discussion
crazy.
about the game, and we can have that discussion when we both like play the game at the end of next month, right? But taking
Hmm.
it back to these prices, like the funny thing or sad thing, I guess, depending on whichever way you want to look at it, is I just had saw like Asha say something. It was like a thing on Twitter was Asha said like, "Oh, gaming's getting too expensive for people," and the next day prices are raised, and I'm just like, "All right." But then, like one of their solutions, like you read the Xbox Newswire blog, and their solution to this is basically like, "Hey, have you guys heard about credit card debt? Because we got a deal for you."
Isn't it 0% interest though?
I mean, whatever, it doesn't matter. Like buy now, pay later, and all these sort of things. Like it's literally in the thing, and I'm just like, oh, is that what the future of gaming consoles is and of gaming? It's like, hey, by the way, bust out that credit card and get your 10 payments of this whatever. It's like, buy now, pay later. Is that what this is all about? Because I just
It's wild, man. It's wild. I mean,
I
I do. Let's age ourselves here. And according to our analytics, most people who watch this podcast are mid 30s to mid 50s. So there will be people here who remember when an 8 megabyte RAM computer cost thousands of dollars. There'll be people here who remember of when a 52-inch plasma TV cost like 5 grand. You know, there'll be people here who remember like consumer technology prices used to be insane. I remember like when I was a little kid, I don't know if you had this in America, Rand, but when I was a little kid, my friends had a TV that was coin operated. Did you
what?
have this in America? Yeah, my friend had a TV that was coin operated. Put a pound, seriously, you put a pound coin in the TV to get like, I don't know, like I think it was like 5 hours of watch time or something. It was coin operated. The TV was owned by some other company because TVs were like they were expensive purchases back then. I'm talking like the mid 90s here, at least in the UK. So Nerds and Other Legends in chat says plasma TV was like 10 grand. I remember. So this is like we're going back to 80s consumer prices. Back when like your Nokia brick phone cost like 3 grand and shit like that. It's fucked up, because we weren't. This isn't what was supposed to happen, Round. The technology was supposed to get cheaper over time and more efficient and more effective.
Yeah.
But now we're watching the entire core gaming industry implode. And someone else in chat said something pretty poignant, which was this whole thing, Rand, is just going to push people to other methods of gaming.
Sure.
So Roblox,
Roblox,
Roblox, Roblox, Roblox.
Roblox laughing all the way to the bank because they're on every device. It doesn't matter. TikTok is there for people to just, hey, we're gonna waste our time on TikTok. Gambling still exists because you've seen the reports that that these are things that are losing. Like this
Poly
is what
market.
gaming is losing to essentially. OnlyFans, I saw something like that where like young men are more willing like they're losing young men to OnlyFans because they'd rather spend their money there than spend their money on gaming and stuff. So, is it one of these things where it's almost sort of like the concert going where like concerts became super expensive when before, especially when I was growing up, like concerts were cheap as fuck. But like now, like
Yeah.
you almost need buy now pay later because they're getting so expensive where it becomes like is this going to be a hobby for essentially like rich people or people that really have more, you know, uh like your mid 30s, 40s that people that grew up on this while kids couldn't care less about it or if they do care about it maybe they're playing on PC. I don't know. Like it just, but then if you just take it back to the Xbox side of the thing again, I just sit there and I'm just like, what's the goal here? Like, what are we trying to do? Because I look at like, and it's not even I understand from like the business sense of it of hey, we paid this much for it, prices are increasing, we're losing money on stuff sold, so we need to raise the price. Like I understand all that stuff, but like you just also introduced signature exclusives as a reason to people to invest in the ecosystem, and you're going to have more of those. And you've talked about console and how important it is to you and all these sort of things, but yet you're continuing to price the console higher and higher and higher, which the audience there's going to be less audience for you unless less reasons for people to want to buy those signature exclusives. And then there's not to even mention like the next generation, because now there's this whole movement of people that ask and say like we don't need next generation next year. And I've seen reports from insiders, that like no, like Helix and PS6 are still coming next year. And it's like, but what are the prices of those things going to be? Because if you have an Xbox Series X that's $800 today, and who's to say it's not going to be $900 next year? What's the launch price of the Helix? Now, we always did think the Helix was going to be an expensive piece of kit. I mean, Sarah Bond said it was premium, high end, so we were thinking like, okay, that's immediately $1,000, but could it be more? Especially if now things are even more expensive and storage and SSD stuff. So like, I sort of just wonder like what's the vision? Like maybe we get that later in the year with the 25th anniversary. Maybe they talk more about Project Helix, but like considering like these are old consoles. These are consoles from 2020 with parts from 2019 in it, and they're just going up constantly. Now I don't know if PlayStation will raise prices at some point this year. I bet you they're probably going to try to sell as many consoles as they can with GTA 6, and then maybe they raise prices, or maybe they figure, you know what, we'll sell as many as we can make, and we'll still raise prices because people are going to need the console. So I don't know which path they go towards. Um, and I'm just like, I sit there and I'm like, I don't know, like, can you launch a PS6 a year from now at $800, and how does that impact your business moving forward? And what does that do for Xbox if you're looking at Helix and you're like, we have to sell this thing for 1200, but then you hear the comments from Matthew Ball and Asha talking about how important console is to them and all those sort of things and how they want it to be strong and stuff, and it's like at those prices it's anything but strong. Especially if you're just coming off a month where it was the worst ever, and now it's going to be even more expensive, so you're going to get even more months of the worst ever, and those headlines are going to start trickling out, and I don't know if like regular people are going to see them, but you're going to have reports constantly just referencing it's the worst month of Xbox hardware in history. It's another month of the worst hardware in Xbox history. Hey, guess what, guys? This month was another October was the worst month in Xbox history. Oh, guess what? January was you're just gonna have consistently just negative reporting about your hardware because you've priced it at a point that you've run out of people to sell it to, and it's not like the next piece of hardware that's coming from you is going to be any cheaper. So, Jazz, what's the future here? What is it? I, Sometimes I just think like,
Bro, I don't even know.
are they just gonna like pull the rug and be like, oh, by the way, Project Helix is canceled? Or, you know what, we shipped Project Helix, we actually came out with it, but we only shipped 100,000 units, and we said we were going to do it, and now, hey, if you want hardware, it's from the third-party OEMs, but then are they going to want to do it if, like, there's not really I don't know, man, like, the pricing on this hardware stuff makes everything just scary in the
Crazy.
sense of, like, what it's going to be in 5 years, and what the market could look like. Because if like hardware stops selling, well, games then are going to have a tougher time to, because now games are more expensive than ever, right? Like it's that is all has a knockdown effect, and I just sit there and I'm like, okay. And you know, even the sad thing about it is one of the companies behind this was Microsoft themselves.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Yep.
So what what are we doing here, Jez? Are we sure that the Xbox Series X isn't going to reach
That's the
$1,000
trillion-dollar
next
question,
year?
isn't it?
What's the price of the Series X going to be next year? She's already talked about how like they expect the prices all this stuff to double by holiday 2027, and they've shown a willingness
Yep,
that
she
they're not
did.
going to eat the cost anymore. So is like the cost of the Series X going to be $1,000 next year?
I have no idea.
How many
You
at
know,
that
I
point?
was wondering,
But at
like,
that point, is it even worth it to make the things anymore? If nobody's buying them and they cost so much money, like at what point do you just say it's not even worth our time? Are they just stuck doing it because they signed a contract with AMD and they gotta meet some sort of quota or whatever? I I don't know how that stuff works, but it's like at some point you would think it's not worth doing. And then I guess that all begs the question of Xbox doing hardware in the first place. But it seemed like at least when she took over that she made a commitment to it. Like that was one of the first things, like one of the bullet points. But it definitely seems like with everything that's going on, it's I don't know if it's out of her hands or what have you, and these are just the things you got to do because you have a target you have to hit. But it definitely doesn't fill me with optimism. Uh, that it's going to get better at all moving forward. It just seems like everything's doesn't get more expensive.
one thing I do wonder, like, is there a way they can? Well, the problem is it's like memory is the bottleneck, right? But is there a way they can like revise? Can they revise the Xbox Series X somehow to bring the cost down? Like release a mid-gen refresh that entirely revolves around reducing the cost? Like, is there something like that they can do? It's it's fucked, man. It's all fucked. I literally I have no idea. I have no idea what possibly they could do to mitigate this because it all revolves around the wholesale price of memory, which SK Hynix has fixed for 5 years. So these prices for memory are going to remain in place. The only thing I could see that could possibly have a positive impact here is if a Chinese company comes in with some kind of cheaper alternative, and that there have been some rumors that Chinese companies might be looking to enter the market and offer like a way to break the memory cartel, because there's this whole thing with Samsung and SK Hynix kind of like working together to artificially inflate prices. That's a whole other thing, right? But could a company come along that could offer an alternative that's cheaper and brings prices down? Because this doesn't just hurt gamers. This hurts every company that wants to sell something with memory in it. Every single company that wants to sell anything with memory in it. And cars have memory in them now. Fucking Samsung smart fridge. There was that old report, we've talked about it before, but there was a report that like Samsung wouldn't even sell memory to Samsung. They were like, "Oh, sorry, different department of Samsung, you've been outbid by another company on the memory." So it's absolutely insane. Like the core part of the issue, Rand, really, and it's sad. It's really sad. But all the investment and all the investment bankers and all those kind of people, they're all excited about artificial intelligence, and they're not excited about gaming even in the slightest. So because there's no money to be made investing in gaming right now, I mean, Nintendo's share price is down 50% year over year. We're sort of like we're adrift, Rand. Gamers, we've been abandoned by big tech. We're adrift. We're afloat. Have you played Final Fantasy VIII?
Yeah, I played 8.
You know that scene where Squall is like floating in space?
Mm-hmm.
No, it's Rinoa. Rinoa becomes untethered and she's floating in space and she's gonna like freeze to death and shit. That's us. We're floating in space without a tether and we're all gonna die. That's my analysis. We're all gonna die. We're doomed. Doomed. Doomed.
Like I'm
I don't fucking know, man. It's cooked. It's just cooked, bro.
I mean, but you expected another price increase this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, so did I. So I guess maybe I didn't expect it to be as much.
I didn't
100 and
I didn't
150
expect it to
bucks,
be.
I guess.
I didn't expect it to be this much. This
I
is crazy.
mean, it's yeah, I don't know. And especially with I wonder if Rockstar thinks, man, we should have came out last year when like consoles weren't sort of, the prices were still at
Cool.
least
That was
manageable,
still up.
or what have you. But I don't know. I saw like Z Huge say that he expects another like Switch 2 price increase next year. He didn't say anything about a PS5 price increase, but I would imagine they still have similar issues, but maybe they're a little bit better off because they're buying more. So
Yeah.
maybe they're the economies of scale work a little bit more to their
But
favor than it
like
does for Xbox. But
one analysis I read, which was like it was talking about Apple specifically,
oh, and Apple
and
raised their
one
prices on everything too. Jesus
yeah,
Christ! Like they,
yeah, and that's the unprecedented part, right? Because Apple actually like they have an iron grip over their supply chain. They own some of the factories. They have invested and built the factories themselves, right? So Apple has this sort of like they have a competitive advantage over everyone with regards to purchasing components for these kind of devices. But even Apple, despite owning the supply chain, even they've had no choice but to put prices up, which really does show you like how fucked it is. Now, if you're like a PlayStation or an Xbox, which have like a proven track record of buying memory for like reliably so in perpetuity, then you're also at an advantage to some degree. And that's why like Steam, they're coming into hardware distribution for the first time. They're unproven, to a lot of these companies, and you can see that supply chain vulnerability reflected in the Steam machine's price, right? So I heard the Steam machine was going to be $1,000 back when it was first announced, and it came in even higher than that. And it's in part because the relationships required to acquire the components are developed over decades for some of these companies, and Valve's coming in for the first time. It's fucking crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But Paris Lily's in chat. Shout out to Paris.
Mr.
And
Paris.
me and Paris we had a small disagreement on Twitter today,
Oh yeah, because Paris
or
is
this
the
week.
leader of delay next gen till 2030. He's the captain of the ship. He's the one leading the
Yeah,
charge, and I think you are pretty much. I think you said to him, "What's the point? Just release it." You know?
yeah. Like I'm interested in your opinion on this, Rand. But my Paris Lily's opinion, paraphrasing Paris, we should get Paris on and talk about this on Xbox 2+1 sometime. But Paris's position is because of the way memory prices are they should delay next gen. They should delay it until memory prices abate and come down. And Paris says it's irresponsible. People are going to debt and you know the madness. But I have a different opinion. I think they should release it. They should release it at they should release it at a higher price. They should release it at an absurd price in small amounts and harvest the whales. They should look at people who've got tons of money and just be like, okay, we'll design the first batch of sales for those rich assholes. We'll take their money and then we'll use the money from those rich assholes and then subsidize it for the masses. I don't think there's any point in delaying it because all you're doing is kind of like you've got to continue your business. So all those devs have to get paid. The platform devs, the engineers, the people who are making the Xbox ecosystem, what it is, they've got to get paid, right? So why not farm the people who've got the money to spend $1,500 on it? Farm them in the first batch, and we'll buy it later, you know. But then again, maybe I'm naive, and maybe the price will never come down, and maybe we'll be cooked. And you know, there is the PR argument as well. Like Chris R55 in chat says, I'd agree with Jez. That would be a PR nightmare for them. I think it only becomes a PR nightmare if Xbox is expensive and PlayStation isn't, like with the Xbox One or the PS3. PS3 is more expensive than the Xbox 360. Microsoft leapfrogged. A PS4 was cheaper than the Xbox One. PlayStation 4 leapfrogged. So I think like if they're both roughly the same price, within $50 of each other, I think you can just release it and let the whales pay for it, and they can subsidize our entertainment. I don't know. Maybe they should do it like this. How about this, Rand?
I'm listening.
How about this? Microsoft asks people for proof of income. If you're rich, you have to pay more. How about that, bro? We socialize gaming.
Yeah. No, I mean, I mean, I get.
Bernie Sanders. We get Bernie Sanders on the case, and they can pass a bill where it's like, if you're a millionaire, you have to pay $10,000 for an Xbox Series X. But if you're a poor Xbox podcaster, you only have to pay $50. Let's do it, bro. Socialism. Let's do it.
I mean,
Comrade Jez, yeah.
I understand the arguments of I understand the arguments of delaying next generation. The problem is like how long can you delay it for? Because it's not just Xbox and PlayStation by themselves. It's like they have like the whole supply chain that is like they have contracts with AMD and all these places that are going to be making these things. Like you can't just like start up and stop these supply chains. Like once you start building PS6s and be like, actually hold off for a year or whatever. So it's not. It's I think more of like a collaborative effort in that regard. And I get it. Like people look at the prices of these things and then think, oh shit, well, what is the price of the PS6 then? Is the PS6 going to be $900 like the PS5 Pro? Is the is it going to be $1,200? Is Helix going to be that expensive? And it's like, if so, just wait. But then you can make the argument. It was like, well, even if you wait, that doesn't mean it's going to get any better. And even if it did get better, does that mean that they're actually going to pass the savings on to you? Because that was some of the arguments around like COVID when all the prices went up for everything. It was like, oh, the prices will go down when COVID went away. I hate to tell you, they didn't. Because once the new prices are always the new prices, right? Like I used to remember hearing stories, from my parents about like cigarettes, and like cigarettes were really cheap, and then they kept on piling on taxes on them, and it's like, well, it'll eventually go back down, and now cigarettes are like $20. Like the prices never go backwards, and maybe we were just in that time frame where we were just lucky, like the PS4s and the PS3s and the 360s were. Oh, it starts off at $299 to $199. And you have like these companies competing in the tech stuff and driving down the cost, but now that's gone. And now now like they have
Well,
this the shortage of this stuff that doesn't really seem to be going anywhere because they're using it for AI and these other things, which everything these other companies think to see are more important. So even if you delayed it, let's take Paris's suggestion and say they were planning on releasing in 2027, but they're going to delay it a year. But it's still going to be the
mm,
same price because nothing changed in that year. In fact, like you could argue that it's actually worse because now there's more inflation, right? So your money's worth less. So what did we actually do by delaying it a year? Because I sort of feel like if you wanted a significant change, this is going to sound ridiculous, but wouldn't it just be easier just to like we're not doing next generation and we're waiting until what would be the PS7 and Xbox Helix 2, like a whole other like 6 years to see if any of this stuff comes down? Cuz I feel like waiting a year is basically the equivalent of, oh man, an alligator just fucking chomped off my leg. Let me put a band-aid on it. You know what I mean? Like what's it going to
I
help?
don't know.
What's delaying a year actually going to do? It's not going to lower any prices. I think if you want like a significant thing, you'd have to basically be like, we're not going to release anything new for 5 or 6 years. And I don't know if that's feasible because, like, they got these contracts with AMD and everybody. So, according to Kepler, PS6 is still coming next year. I don't know what price it's going to be considering what the PS5 and the Pro sit at. And you know what Sony's going to do? You know what they'll do that Microsoft won't, Jazz? Is
What's that?
Sony will make some of their games PS6 exclusive. So because I do see this sometimes when I get online, and I'll see some PlayStation fans being like, "We don't want a PS6 next year. This gen's going fine. It feels like it just started." But like the minute Sony does their show, and it's like, "Oh, by the way, I'll just pick a game at random. By the way, the God of War trilogy remake. Only place you can play it is the PS6." Then you're gonna have everybody being like, "Oh fuck, now I have to buy this thing." You know, they did it with the PS5. Like, most of the games were cross gen, but Dark Souls was PS5 only.
See,
I,
bro, my whole thing is like, if they delay Xbox because they want to, because of some fantasy that memory prices are going to stabilize, I'm just thinking like they'll just stop doing hardware completely because they'll just be like, well, what the fuck's the point? I think like, I think at some point you just have to be like, well, if we're going to stay in electronics, we have to accept that this is the price of the components that we've got right now. Clearly, right, there is money to be made here, right? We can be in two minds about this. You know, capitalism, Rand, is supposed to be where people identify a gap in the market and then they innovate and they compete and price is lower, right? So for someone out there, there is an opportunity here to offer cheaper memory. There is an opportunity, for a Chinese company, hopefully, to offer cheaper memory, which goes into Helix and the PS6 and brings their prices down. You know, so there's that aspect of it, but there's also just the aspect of like the median gamer of the core cohort of which we are a member, their income goes up. Like generally speaking, like as you get older, your income goes up. When you're like a teenager, you've got no income. When you're a student in your 20s, you don't have that much income, but maybe you've got a minimum wage job. And like you get older, you get promoted. You're in your 30s, your 40s, you become like a middle manager or whatever. So like, I don't have the data in front of me, but the median income of a core gamer is probably like what they're thinking about with regards to how do we make these products profitable. So if you look at the laptop market, right? The laptop market is a pretty good allegory for this. Laptop manufacturers, or even like handhelds like the Xbox Ally, they offer like a huge range of SKUs for all different price points and power points and all that kind of thing. So like you can buy like a laptop with 8 GB of RAM and for like $1,000, and maybe you'll be able to play a game like lower end games at 1080p 30 or stuff like that. Or you could go all the way up to a $6,000 Razer laptop with a 5080 in it that runs games at 4K 60 or more, right? So I think really the future of gaming, and I think this is why PC gaming has become more prevalent. PC gaming offers a huge range of SKUs for all different income ratios, whereas like consoles have always been this like you get one. You get one option, no matter how rich you are, no matter how poor you are, you get one option, and like, or best one and a half options. Like maybe they remove the disk drive to save you $50 or something. And when Microsoft dared to offer two SKUs, everyone was mad at them for it. They were fucking mad at them for it. You know, how dare Microsoft offer two SKUs that maybe someone with less income could potentially afford to at least participate in the current gen? How dare Microsoft do this? But this is why I think PC gaming is succeeding so much. There's so many different options. There's so many different options. So maybe, Rand, really what the play is, they need to offer just become more PC like. And I think that's kind of what Helix is, isn't it? It's supposed to be more PC like. So the Series S is probably going to be the baseline for a very long time. I wouldn't be surprised if this generation runs an extra 5, 6, 7 years over what is typical. And a lot of the biggest games these days, they can run on a fucking potato. Roblox can run on your grandma's iPad, for God's sake. And these are the games that are making millions of dollars, hands over fist. I saw, I don't know if you've heard of this, Rand, because you probably haven't. But there was a game released on Steam this week that was developed by a single dude, and it took him 2 months to make it. I think it's called Rainbow Chameleon or something like that. Someone in chat will remember. It's Mecha Chameleon.
Made by
Mecha Chameleon.
two guys.
Two guys.
10 million copies.
And it's sold 10 million copies. 10 million copies. And you don't need PlayStation 5 level PC to run that shit. You know? And these are the games that like the youngsters want to play. And I think just this whole sort of the way that like it's our fault, Rand. It's millennials' fault. Millennials, we caused this. Because we're like, all the games have got to be cutting edge, they've got to be 4K 60, we refuse to play anything else. Whereas like Gen Z and all those and younger, they grew up playing shitty mobile games, and now they're in it more for the culture than the graphics. And which is why these like sort of meme kind of brain rot kind of games, this is where the money's going. Because millennials, we were so snobbish about it. We wanted to have the best graphics, we wanted to have the most expensive systems, and we played ourselves, Rand. We played ourselves. We rejected the Xbox Series S, or the media did. We rejected like any game that wasn't cutting edge visuals, and now the studios went out of business. We rejected all this shit. So we're to blame, Rand. It's all our fault. It's all our fault, bro. I'm just gonna start drinking now. I'm depressed.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know about these prices. I don't know what the future holds. I don't know if they're going to delay the consoles because it seems like a short-term sort of solution for a long-term problem. But I'll be interested to find out, right? Like, there is that. I mean, like the big kind of thing was like the Steam machine, which kind of does dovetail into the pricing thing. Is like if that came out, it was like what the 512 gigabyte low one that doesn't even come with the controller is 1,050. Like they couldn't even hit the 999 mark, right? Like couldn't even hit that and had to go above that. Because don't forget, Jez, when this thing was originally announced, which was I think late last year, if I'm not mistaken, there were people talking like this was going to be $400, and that it was going to completely disrupt the console market, and that PlayStation and Xbox should be like quaking in their boots because it was gonna. Lord Gabe was gonna undercut everybody, and then the reality of the price sets in, and it's like, then you hear people asking me like, well, what's the point of this thing? Like, who's this actually for? But then you realize like the cost of the other console is like, well, I guess everybody's around the same. I don't know. I don't really think they're gonna make that many Steam machines. They're probably gonna make
No,
I don't know, a million of them, couple million, and then they're probably happy selling it
I
because
wouldn't even.
unlike
I wouldn't even
PlayStation,
think that, bro. I'm thinking hundreds of thousands in the first batch.
yeah, like unlike PlayStation, like that's not their business. Their business is selling games on their storefront. Like I'm sure they'll be happy selling what they can sell, and it's not super hurtful. It's not hurtful whatsoever to the business that they have to price it that. I'm sure they would like to have priced it cheaper if they could get the components for cheaper, or maybe did a little bit more damage. But uh, whatever. If anybody can like sort of wait and to see like what's going to happen, it's probably them. Because PC
Mm.
gaming and Steam's just constantly growing, where like all the other ones are essentially stagnant to a certain extent. I think, although like
Treading water, yeah.
the Switch Two, despite what you hear, I think Circana posted that it's like the second fastest selling system ever, like for their reporting. Like even though it's um
Everyone was buying it for Star Fox, bro.
yeah, everybody's buying it for Star Fox, but it seems to be doing pretty well. Um Even though like the price cut's going to be coming later in the year for that and what have you, and it doesn't have GTA 6, and there's still a lot of the big third party games that it doesn't get. People still love their Nintendo games. Yeah, I'm sure Ocarina of Time's going to do really really well. Probably going to be one of the game of the year contenders depending on when it launches and stuff. And Nintendo's going to Nintendo because I mean they are at least trying to keep their prices cheaper, and I sort of wonder, is that like the future? Like, I don't want to use the word underpowered hardware, but hardware like Nintendo, where like you sort of mentioned, where you're not chasing after 8K 60 or 4K 120, and you just release like really cheap hardware and sell it for 500
Bro,
bucks instead of
bro.
like the state of the art type shit.
Well, this is one of the ways I think they're gonna potentially quote unquote innovate with the next gen hardware is they're gonna offload the some of the memory heavy tasks to the NPU potentially. So like I would bet money that the Xbox Helix has some kind of NPU in it, and they'll probably use that to upscale textures, which lets them do more potentially with less memory. That doesn't necessarily help storage, but there's probably a lot of heavy lifting that an NPU potentially could do to make shitty textures and shitty whatever else look better, shitty resolution look better. Now, I suppose one of the core questions there is, is there going to be an option for a native experience? Because a lot of people don't like this. And again, this comes back to my whole like millennials are to blame for this thing. Like, um, I had a debate with a friend of mine a while ago, where like they were upset about some of Nvidia's announcements, and they were like, "Oh my God, it's all fake frames, it's fake frames, it's fake frames, and stuff like that." And I was just like, "Yeah, but like, isn't all graphics fake frames? Like, it's all digitally rendered. If it looks good and it plays well, does it matter if it's been upscaled? Does it fucking matter? And that's the question. Will the audience let them do this kind of stuff? Like if they do like make a console that runs 4K 60, this is just an example. I have no idea if this is what they're going to do. But imagine if like Helix has 8 GB of RAM and there's some kind of magic NPU bullshit which upscales it to 4K 60, and maybe there's some shimmering or some after effect, some after imaging and stuff like that. But for the most part, it looks fine. Are people going to freak out because it's AI and just reject it? And are we just going to be like, well, we did this because we want to try and keep costs down and, avoid having to buy more memory or something like that? But then, like, if gamers reject that, is there going to be is it going to be affordable? I don't know. There's a lot of like weird questions going on right now because we've enjoyed relatively low prices for memory for 20 years now, pretty much. And all of a sudden, one day, they discovered they could use graphics cards for something other than gaming. You know, we had the whole. Do you remember the whole crypto rush where all the graphics cards were being poured into mining Bitcoin, and then nobody could get a graphics card for ages? And now, like, all those graphics cards are going to fucking data centers, and now the memory's going to data centers as well. And we still want to have these kind of like high standards. I think, Rand, and I'm going to compromise with Paris's idea of delaying the gen. I think if they do want to delay the gen, what they should do is they should release revised models of the Series S and the Series X. If there's something they can do with manufacturing to shave costs, they should do it. I remember the PS2 generation, Rand, and I know it was a different time, and memory was technology was improving rapidly during the PlayStation 2 era. But I remember the launch PS2 and then the final version of the PS2, and the final version of the PS2 was like it could almost fit in your pocket. It was so fucking small.
I mean,
It was
dude, do you
so
remember
impressive. Like,
the Xbox One OG and like this Xbox One S? I mean, the differences were
yeah,
remarkable. I
were
mean,
huge. So, like, is there a universe where they could like use the MPU maybe to make the Series S cheaper? You know, like take even more RAM away or something. And I know it's a problem because like the developers will have to do more. But like if it is a PC like system, like say for example they released a version of the Series S, which instead of relying on memory, it instead relies on silicon and CPUs and MPU or whatever. I don't even know if it'd be cheaper because like it's not like any component is cheap right now. But I'm just kind of thinking like there must be a way to get to use technology to find to mitigate some of these to mitigate some of these issues. You know, like I feel like this is where I think this is where the next wave of innovation is going to be around. It's not going to be in like brute forcing games to look better. It's going to revolve entirely around efficiency. It's going to revolve around how can we compress these textures more efficiently? How can we upscale more seamlessly? I think this is really where I think Microsoft should be investing. Is like how do we do more with less? Because that's kind of where we're heading. We're heading to a universe where we're going to have less, and the innovation and I think the breakthroughs are really going to come through with building more efficient systems rather than just more monster systems that eat monsters for breakfast or whatever. I don't know.
right.
It's all cooked, bro. It's cooked.
Um,
Let's get some super chats.
yeah, okay. Let me get some of these things. And I hate having my microphone here where it's. Ugh. Anyways, we have Welsh Dragon 888 says, "I'd love to see a from CD Project Welsh mythology game. What underused mythos culture would you like to see turned into a game, and by what dev? Thanks." Um, yeah. What culture? What mythology? Hmm.
I mean, I thought it was really cool that they did like the Pictish stuff for Hellblade. It's like one of the reasons why I felt kind of like teased by Hellblade. It was because it's like, oh wow, it's like the Celtic stuff. It's like this hasn't been really explored in a huge amount of detail in a game before, and then there was just not much gameplay to it. Um, oh, mythology. I mean, one thing, and this is kind of like to the point. Like I've been really enjoying like the Thaumaturge recently. The Thaumaturge has pretty poor gameplay, but it's got a huge amount of really interesting Slavic lore and um Rasputin era stuff, a history. Like I don't think Rasputin and Tsarist Russia has been explored very much in gaming because there's all that mythology around Rasputin, like, and I know it's not like ancient mythology, but there's so much rumor and sort of fantasy around that whole thing. I kind of really like that idea. But I've also really enjoyed Control. and it's sort of contemporary style mythology. Like they've built their own mythology around, like it's sort of like inspired by the X-Files and SCP and that kind of thing. Man, I love games that have deep world building, but that doesn't
Yeah,
really answer the
I don't know.
question. But
I'd say maybe like Egyptian mythology. You don't really see too many
yeah,
games I mean, it's usually like Greek mythology or Norse mythology or whatever, but you don't really see too much delving into Egyptian mythology, so I'd pick that one.
I think
Um,
ancient Mesopotamia might be a good one too.
yeah. Juan says, "Are gamers living in a bubble? All tech is going up in price due to RAM shortages, but they only complain about big bad Xbox. Like, do they think Xbox just wants to raise prices and sell even less?" Well, of course, like I don't think anybody wants to raise prices and sell less because the whole thing is you want to sell as many consoles as you can so you can, you know, gather up a bigger user base to sell as many games as you can and sell DLC as you can. So like making the things prohibitively expensive is basically cock blocking you in other areas. So it's like I don't think Microsoft or Asha or Matthew Ball or PlayStation or Nintendo or Steam actually wants to price these things at these price points because it's not like Xbox is going to sell $800 Xbox and then they're laughing out of the way of the bank because they made $500 in profit or whatever. It's like they probably barely are breaking even on it. Like maybe they make a couple dollars or two, but it impacts their business because well nobody's buying the systems and then nobody's subscribing to Game Pass because of it and then nobody's buying the games. So it's like they're doing it probably well, not even probably. They're doing it because they have to. Now you can make the arguments, well, do they have to? Look at all their profits and how much money they make and how much revenue. It's like, yeah, I get that too. Do they like couldn't they eat it? Like as they say, like couldn't Microsoft eat the cost and lower the price for GTA 6 and all that sort of stuff? And it's like, yeah, if they wanted to, but they clearly aren't they aren't gonna let Xbox do that. Um, it's just yeah, I mean, I agree with you on it's like I don't think anybody wants this. In fact, I think it actually actively harms their business the more they keep on raising the prices. So they have to be doing it because it's a need, not a want. Is this like this is what we have to do, unfortunately.
I mean, it's the core of it is like Asha herself said, gaming's becoming unaffordable. I
Yeah.
mean, she knows that the consoles aren't desirable at this price point, but they've literally got no choice if they want
It just looks
to.
really odd from her to say that and then like to raise the price of the consoles 150 bucks like right after it. It's like, well, what's your solution to making it cheaper? Because right, like it, and don't tell me it's like, well, have you heard about buy now pay later and mortgaging
Yeah,
whatever. We talked about that to death, so let's move on from
yeah.
that. uh Hacky Sack says, Jez, why do you think Europe largely does not have AC? The technology has been around since the 20s.
Dude, like this is it's driving me mad right now, and I'm pretty lucky because we decided to vacation in the Baltics, so it's pretty mild up here. Like it's not the temperatures we're seeing in France. That's not what we get in here, but like it's still toasty, and it's funny. We've got AC in our hotel, and it's hilarious that the AC, even places that do have AC, it's nowhere near as good or as powerful as AC that you get in America. Like the AC that I've got on full blast in our hotel room right now, the room is still toasty and uncomfortable and sweaty, even though I've got the AC on maximum coldness right now. So I don't know, but like something's got to change. Like people are literally dying in the UK and France because of this heat wave. It's absurd. It's hit like 120 Fahrenheit in some parts of France. People are like dying in their cars and like they're trying to swim to cool off and then drowning and shit. It's fucking pandemonium. But the European national grid is just not designed for air conditioning. It's not designed for it. So if everyone switched to air conditioning, there'd be power outages and shit, man. So they've got to look at it because it's all fucked. It's just fucked. Oh yeah, that was the thing I wanted to tell you, Rand. This is just a quick tangent, but For this vacation, this is where me and my girlfriend met. We met in this town for the first time 13 years ago, and I wanted to propose to her in this town. It's 800 kilometers from where we live, right? And because the trains are so expensive now, we thought we'd drive here during the heat wave.
Mm-hmm.
The heat wave killed the car. So 400 kilometers away from our destination and 400 kilometers from home, the car's heating system just gave up, and the car hit 130 Celsius, which is like 200 Fahrenheit probably, and it just died. So we had to dump the car in a random ass street 400 kilometers away and get the train. So we're gonna go and try and find the car and then try and like drive slowly in the middle of the night just to avoid the heat and see if we can make it. But the heat wave here has been brutal, man.
Yeah. See. Bottle Cactus says if they can't sell the box but need the extra revenue to lessen the losses, 500 million annually before the memory shortage, does the pivot back to exclusive force them to drop day one Game Pass? I mean, I'm sure they look. I'm sure when she took over, they looked at everything. Uh, I don't know if you could make. The problem is the entire attractiveness of Game Pass is day one, and if you remove day one, that basically craters its value in a lot of people's eyes. And at that point, what's the price of it? And I mean, Jez always talks about like the steady income that you can account on Game Pass to bring in all the time. But what happens if? But I think that's all based off of day one. And if you just made it like PlayStation Plus, where it's just a catalog of games of older games, I think I think you lose a lot of people because I think people are subscribed for day one. I think you see a lot of people unsubscribe, and then that steady revenue that you have goes away. Now they may change it in the future. I mean, nothing lasts forever. They may look at it and like this is something we need to change, but we can't do it right away. We have to kind of slowly do it over the course of a couple years, but we'll see. For now, I mean, they talk about. I mean, Game Pass day one was heavily prevalent at the Xbox showcase. So, but then again, so was Senua. We know how that story's gonna go. So we'll see. Uh, First and 15 says consoles GNA have contracts like the phone market. Consoles GNA have contracts like the phone market. Okay.
Yeah, I mean what they tend to do is they tend to like buy an allocation of memory at a fixed price for so many years or months. And from what one of the things I was told was that PlayStation was buying memory on a yearly basis, whereas like Xbox was buying it on a quarterly basis. So Xbox was having to eat increased costs every few months, whereas PlayStation took, of course, a longer view. And we've talked at length on this podcast about how Microsoft under Amy Hood favors short-termism. And I think they hedged their bets and thought, oh, maybe we can get a cheaper price next quarter. Nope. Oh man.
Yeah. Although on the PlayStation side of things, yeah, we did see that there are some big layoffs that happened at Bungie. Significant layoffs, like 300 plus. And then today, Jez, which the Bungie thing is sad, considering like when you talk about prestige studios in gaming, I mean Bungie's got to be up there, right? Considering the IP they've worked on, and like I know if you were talking, like if you go back to like the early, like the 360 generation Xbox One, and you named off like the 10 biggest devs or the most elite devs, like Bungie's in that top. You have Bungie, BioWare, um, like Blizzard, right? Like you could name off like Rockstar, like just these names, and a lot of them, like it ain't really true no more. Uh, like BioWare's a shell of their former self, and some are still up there. I mean, I think CD Projekt Red is kind of like shouldered their way in there, in the top tier, and I'm sure there's some other devs too that I'm not thinking off the top of my head, but Bungie,
Uber team.
Blooper Team, yeah, for you for sure, but but Bungie was one of those devs considering what they did with Halo and how popular the franchise was, and then like say what you will about Destiny, but Destiny, there was no game like Destiny. I mean, you could argue Warframe was like it quite a bit, but like they were a prestige developer, and to see what they've basically become, and I'm a fan of
No.
Marathon, although I'm not playing Marathon anymore. I completely dropped the game because they fucked up season 2. I I'm fearful for the studio. They cut a lot of people, and I honestly don't. Jazz, I really do think Bungie's not long for this world. I think 2027 is the end of the road for them. I just I don't see a marathon. I don't think they're trying. They have like a new PVE mode that's going to come out later this month. They're like trying to appeal to Destiny players or people that don't like the PvP. And I sort of feel like it's never going to really catch on in that way, especially if you're like letting go of all these people and it's just going to make it harder for people to come up and make content. So I'm, I, I'm, I really do think, 2027 is going to be it for them. And then I see an article today that PlayStation wants to revitalize the market with new live service games. And I'm like scratching my head because like basically Destiny's dead, right? Marathon is not setting the world on fire, and they've canceled a lot of live service stuff like the Last of Us games, and like they've had like one hit. They've had Helldivers 2, but they've also had like the biggest bomb of all time with Concord. And I see this and I'm like, they can't be serious, right? Like what? And yeah, apparently in a recent interview with Famitsu, Hideki Nishino, the president of Sony Interactive Entertainment, shared insights about PlayStation strategy for live service titles. He emphasized that Sony believes live service games have the potential to reach players on a global scale, and that the company aims to revitalize the market through both first party and third party content. In terms of live service content, PlayStation is not only focusing on marketing its upcoming titles, but is also considering how to enhance existing games in both the medium and the long term. He emphasized that it's crucial to continuously provide new content for live service games as this genre is still relatively new, and many developers are experimenting with different approaches, and PlayStation aims to continue to take on the challenges within that context. He reaffirmed that single player games will remain first party, while with live service multiplayer games, the platform will be considering PS5 and PC as the basic platforms for release. And
Hmm.
I'm just like, I should they be doing live service? I they've had more misses than like like the lack of taste. Maybe there's a better way to say this, but like you just basically destroyed Bungie. You sunset Destiny, which is an extremely, you say, like extremely successful like live service game, or one that a lot of people love, and you basically like, we're done with this, and then you come out and said we still want to revitalize the live service stuff, and it's like, with what? Like a lot of your live service offerings have been outside of Helldivers 2 like disasters. I mean, if Bungie really goes under, like what does that say about Marathon and like the end of Destiny 2? A disaster. So
Yeah.
is it really just
Dude,
do they really just see like money
it's
all these live service games bring in, and are just really think to themselves that they need to have one of their own that brings in that level of money to their platform, essentially?
it's a really, I think what we're seeing, like, and not just PlayStation but Xbox as well, like I think they're all sort of like they're all really confused to some degree. I think what they've seen is they had like several decades of where gaming was the number one pastime for people of a certain age. But I think they're still in panic mode over things like TikTok and Instagram and algorithmic zombification and stuff. But there's also like rising things like Polymarket, which is absorbing huge amounts of money from, you know, millennials and Gen Z, and that would typically previously potentially have been spent on gaming. So instead of spending like $70 on a game, they're spending $70 betting on Polymarket or something in the hopes of getting rich and shit like that. One of the issues I think gaming has is that it's the way that we experience gaming, and I think books went through this and other forms of media. Like algorithms have rewired people's brains to expect and desire short form, quick and easy content, right? The attention economy, Ender Rising in chat says, yeah, the attention economy is absolutely fragmented right now. There's so many instantaneous ways to do things other than gaming. Whereas like before, it was like you're getting from school or work or whatever, and you just be like, well, there's nothing to do. I'll throw on a video game. It's not like that anymore. And I think like traditional game companies are really struggling with what their role is in that universe. And some of them are tying themselves in knots, trying to appeal to an audience that doesn't exist. And we've talked about this before. They're tying themselves in knots, trying to appeal to an audience that doesn't exist while alienating their own audience. And I think that's how like we've seen games like Expedition 33 blow up, for example, like Square Enix and other companies that would have previously offered those kind of games. They went off chasing like mobile games. And to be fair, Square Enix has been very successful in mobile games, so it's probably a smart decision for them. But they're probably sitting there scratching their heads, wondering like, well, we've lost some of our audience to the Expedition 33 crowd now. It's kind of funny because now you're seeing Final Fantasy Resonant get a lot of hype right now. That's coming out in a couple of months. Turn-based JRPG style, pixel graphics, all that kind of thing. It's almost like they've gone full circle. So, you know, if you're a publicly traded company, you're always expected to be searching for what the next big thing is. And like the shareholders technically own the company, and if the shareholders don't get what they want, the board of directors can fire the CEO and put someone in charge who will give them what they want. We saw all this with Kadakawa recently. Did you see that news rant about Kadakawa and From Software?
Yeah.
So like there were these rumors that Kadakawa shareholders were upset that the CEO hadn't capitalized on Elden Ring enough. Elden Ring being a generational piece of media, not just one of the best games of recent memory, one of the best entertainment products of the post-millennium era. That's how I'm gonna describe Elden Ring. And the shareholders were still not happy. They still wanted more. Still wanted more. You know, it's just like what the fuck. You know it. But that's the thing. Its line goes up, right? So I don't begrudge Sony for thinking about this stuff because it's what the shareholders want them to be thinking about. And I think really when they signal like we're going to look at more live service stuff, what they're really saying is like, we hear you shareholders, we're going to do the thing that you're expecting us to do, you know. And I think like it's all about placating them at the end of the day. But I don't see how like just speaking as a gamer now, I don't see how Sony achieves this. Microsoft kind of bought its way in, right? Microsoft had some success with homegrown service games like Forza and Sea of Thieves, but like for those like mass global markets like your Candy Crush and your Warcraft and your and Overwatch and Call of Duty, Microsoft had to spend enormous amounts of money to muscle its way into that audience. Like I don't see how PlayStation can grow their own Call of Duty. Is that even a logical thing to even attempt? Like the amount of money they lost on Concord, I don't know, man.
I mean, I don't know either.
I see why they're doing. I see why they're thinking about it.
I mean, it seems like they're consistently going to try it. I'm sure like the money they're going to get from Grand Theft Auto, they're probably also going to be like, we need to do this because switching to GTA, like the big news of this week, realistically, is that pre-orders opened up, and there was only two editions. One was $80, the regular edition, which is the $10 increase I think a lot of us were expecting, right? Because there was a lot of analysts being like, "Oh, you need to be $100 or whatever," and I mean, reports saying there was some publishers hoping that they would raise the prices or whatever. So like, okay, they raised the price to $10 to 80, and then there's the Ultimate Edition for 100 that locks away a lot of like in-game content, like tattoos, haircuts, stores, all these sort of things. Like there's a lot of content in the Ultimate Edition, and there's no early access, which I thought, that's not. I didn't really think there would be, but there's no like collector's edition, which I thought they could get away with by selling like a collector's edition with some like a doll or like Jason and Lucia for $300 that I'm sure a lot of people would buy that love those sort of things, but none of that. The physical copies that are going to be available at launch are just codes in a box, presumably because they don't want the game to leak. Because I guess there will be
Yeah.
physical copies later in the later next year or whatever.
Tom. See, I think that's so scummy because they know there's going to be a lot of people who will buy the digital, and they'll also then go and buy the physical.
Yeah, and well, I mean, it's
That's why
also
they've
like
done
they know that there's going to be a lot of PC players that are going to buy this on console and then double dip when it comes to PC, even though like they could just release it on PC and when everything is ready, but they know people are weak-willed when it comes to GTA because now you have like the talking point, like the discussion. There's the whole physical discussion and like, oh, like the like, yeah, which I mean, I guess I know they want a physical presence, but a lot of people are upset that there's not a physical disc in the box. Now, my thing on it. I'm digital,
physical
been digital
discs.
since 2015. I was always getting a digital copy. Uh, you know, Physical is kind of like on the way out. It's getting less and less important, or the splits are getting less and less towards more towards digital than physical. So I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all that it's just a code. I am a little surprised at the Ultimate Edition because it really does seem like the real edition of the game's $100, and like where it's like, oh, they only raised it by 10. But when you look at like the difference between the 80 and $100 version and like how people like contextualize, oh, just for this extra I can get this, I think the vast majority of pre-orders are going to be for $100 version. So the game's almost like essentially $100. I think like it's just the $79.99 version is just there for like appearances, so to speak. When I think the
Mm.
vast majority of pre-orders are going to be for the ultimate stuff because people are going to want all the goodies and all the extra things and you could talk about how you know dumb that is, which I mean it kind of is, but then it's also one of the things like, well, how do you make people buy $100 version of a game with no early access or like no guaranteed DLC? And it's like, well, I guess lock off a whole bunch of stuff, cosmetics, like people love that sort of shit. Um, so I don't know. Like, do you have anything to add about the whole GTA stuff? Like, they didn't drop a trailer. I know a lot of people were upset because I know a lot of people love to. I don't want to use the word grift, but there's a lot of big accounts on there that have been tweeting nonstop about the GTA shit because they know it gets views. And I really think
Mm.
they're not necessarily upset that they dropped the trailer. I think it's because they're upset that they can't monetize even more because the trailer didn't drop, right? And they're like,
Yeah.
what the fuck are Rockstar doing? But it's like, dude, Rockstar can do what they want. They don't have to drop a trailer with pre-orders because they know everyone's going to pre-order the game anyways. So why not save the trailer for, you know, a different time, like August or September or something? Like they don't need to do it on your timetable. And Zos, Strelnick said that this game's marketing was going to be a little bit different than the previous ones. But dude, like seriously, like when the pre like my entire feed was just GTA 6 stuff from people debating about whether it was worth the $80 or whether the $100 Ultimate Edition's a ripoff, or whether the game's mid, or whether Grand Theft Auto was any good in the first place. Because you know how things, when things get too popular, they're always just like, well, it was always bad to begin with. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And all these sort of things about it. And, you know, I don't know if you saw, but PlayStation basically changed like their UI to feature GTA, like doing things that they've never done for any of their own single player games. Like I know people get
They spend a lot
upset.
of money on it.
Well, they have, but I know people get upset when Xbox does those full screen ads, and it's like, hey, South of Midnight's out, play it or whatever, and people bitch about it because like I don't want ads there, and even though you can press the B button. Like PlayStation's never really done that for any of their. I mean, they got Wolverine coming out, a game from Insomniac, and like the whole thing is just GTA 6. Now, granted, like you said, they spent a lot of money, and their whole marketing campaign now is plays best on PS5. And I know you made some waves because you said they're lying,
Of
which people.
course they're lying.
I mean, are they though? But isn't marketing all just a big lie, anyways? No matter what, like it's marketing. It's you're selling a lie to somebody to be able to buy your product. But
Grand Theft Auto plays best on the system you own.
well,
Sips tea.
so the thing is,
Hashtag.
Xbox can't say that in marketing because they didn't pay Rockstar enough money to do it. So
They can't say shit in marketing legally because
no.
they're under embargo. They're
So
under embargo because PlayStation paid a lot of money, Destiny style, to preclude any mention of Xbox version all up. So, there was that other piece of news from IGN saying that PlayStation pre-orders for GTA outselling Xbox 6-1 based on their own clicks, which I thought was a very interesting way of measuring it. But, Sony's going all in on Grand Theft Auto, and it's
as
for
they
good
should.
reason. I think this is as they should. This is the one opportunity they're gonna have for a seriously long fucking time to prize some kids away from Roblox. And I know like, oh, but GTA is an 18, bro. Every kid on earth's gonna be playing Grand Theft Auto. I don't care. I don't care what anyone says. Like, there ain't no way kids aren't a huge part of Grand Theft Auto's audience. You know. The same is true for like like all of us here played Grand Theft Auto as teens or younger in some cases. So I do think like this is like a generational opportunity for PlayStation to loss lead and lean into Grand Theft Auto, and not only to like convert people who are still on Xbox One potentially to PlayStation, but also just like convert as many people as possible and try and form habits out of those people. But you got to question the virtues of that, man. I mean, all the developers in the world went ham hiring for COVID because they thought COVID was going to be a habit forming event for people gaming. And like all the game platforms, they experienced huge growth during COVID because everyone was stuck at home and they didn't have as much to do. But as soon as the pandemic ended, all those fair weather gamers, they abandoned ship like no man's business. And it's I don't begrudge them doing it because PlayStation must be so mad that all this memory shit has happened now because imagine how hard PlayStation could go if they still had a $399 PlayStation to sell or less. How much was it at launch? 349? I can't remember.
Yeah, it was 399 was
349 console feels like a
the
lifetime.
digital, 499 was the for the regular one, right? So yeah, $400.
So imagine if they had a $400 imagine if they had a $400 PlayStation 5 to push right now, or indeed Xbox had like a $300 Series S to push or whatever. You know
Yeah,
that
but I mean, there's like a
this is
major
a
retailer already
generational event, and
saying,
they're losing it.
but there's a major retailer already saying that consoles are basically like they're gonna fly off shelves regardless of the price.
Yeah, but sure, but they don't have enough stock. PlayStation 5 sales are down 46% year over year, and that isn't because the stock is sitting there on store shelves. It's because there's not enough inventory to bother marketing it hard, you know, and because it's not worth it to them to buy more and flood the zone with units. So like you can expect PlayStation sales to continue to be down year over year, and Xbox especially, because it's not worth it, or it's actually it's not that it's not worth it, it's actually damaging to their business if they're losing hundreds of dollars per sale. So like the idea is like we need to have the highest attach rate possible for people who already own it, which is like I don't know what kind of attach rate they're projecting, but it's probably I would hope it's probably pretty high. But also at the same time, it's like they've got to be sitting there wondering like, does Gen Z even care? Like Gen Z has grown up without Grand Theft Auto, you know, or Gen Alpha too. They've grown up without Grand Theft Auto for the most part. They've just all they've known is like Fortnite for a million years. Because that's another thing. Like games take so long to make now. You miss out on entire generations of people. I think Square Enix were talking about that.
Yeah, it's true. Did you pre-order GTA 6?
I haven't pre-ordered it. No,
Are you going to pre-order it at some point?
I don't think so. There's no
Hmm.
pre-order bonus, is there?
Yeah, I think there is a pre-order bonus.
What's the pre-order bonus?
I mean, I don't pre-order games until the day before so I can load it up and be ready. So like, but the version I am gonna get the $100 version. So, I guess I'm part
I
of the
would as well.
problem.
If I was going to get it, I would as well. So if you pre-order the game, you get the Vintage Vice City pack, which comes with a two-tone sedan, some outfits and hairstyles, an exclusive weapon pattern, and a free month of GTA Plus,
That's the other thing.
which
If you
includes
when you pre-order it, they auto subscribe you to GTA Plus, which then you have to cancel otherwise because it's a recurring fee. Little
that's
tricksy by
sneaky.
them.
They're doing lots
Little
of little tricks
shady,
these.
little shady. I did notice that,
Mm.
but there's also no mention of multiplayer. So people were wondering, does that mean multiplayer will be sold separately like eventually, because there was no mention in any of the facts about like GTA Online, right? So I know people were sort of surprised that there wasn't like $150 versions or whatever, so it's like, are they planning on selling the multiplayer for $50, or is it just going to
How
be
about
a
this?
free
How about
update
this?
later, you know?
What if you need GTA Plus to play online?
So basically turning it
What
into a
if
World
it's
of Warcraft.
what if it's subscription based, bro? Hoo-hoo-hoo. That'd be
Yeah, but aren't
interesting.
you limiting your audience by making a subscription base though? Don't I mean, isn't the whole thing why a lot of games are free to play is
No, but
because
dude. This is one of the issues that they have with free to play right now, is that a lot of people play for free and don't spend any money,
hmm,
and more people are doing that. And over the lifetime of the game, the amount of people that money that people spend persistently decreases because they've got all the cosmetics they want. They don't want any more. So maybe it's better to have a subscription and a smaller audience than go free to play. World of Warcraft's never gone free to play. World of Warcraft could have a bigger audience, but they chose not to because they chose guaranteed income.
I guess.
I'm,
I don't know.
I think I think that's a distinct possibility. I do.
I mean, I guess
Like
there's
right now, it's subscription optional. Right now.
right. I guess there's three options. It's just a free update whenever it does release, whether it's in December or whether it's early next year. It's it's like an add-on that you have to buy, which they eventually do like you can purchase GTA Online separately from GTA 5. Like if you just want, like, you can do that. Like I know like at launch you couldn't, but like right now you can go on Xbox and you can be like, I just want GTA Story and it costs this much, or I just want GTA Online and it costs this much. Now that may be something they eventually do down the road, uh, but they could do it at the start where it's like, hey, uh, considering the game's physical copies, there's no like secondhand market or whatever. So it's like, hey, you want GTA Online, it costs like $40. Or like you said, it's if you want to play GTA Online, you got to subscribe, and they get $15 from me every month. Um, I don't know. I think it's probably just going to be a free update, and they'll just sell you shark cards and all that sort of shit. But I mean,
You're probably right.
I guess I wouldn't be too shocked if it was like a $40 thing. But I don't know.
What if it
I'm
required?
gonna go with the free
How shocked
update.
would you be if it required? How shocked would we be if it required a subscription?
Out of those three options, that would be the one I would like attribute less percentage to. So that I sort of would be shocked if it was like, by the way, you need the new subscription to play this. So yeah, I guess I'd be like, oh,
I would be intrigued if they tried that. That'd be
yeah,
intriguing.
yeah. I don't know what they're gonna do, but um, I don't know. When do you think we're gonna see a trailer for it? You think we're gonna see August? Typically, I know they drop like the gameplay
Mm.
trailer where they have the voiceover. It's like, "Welcome to Grand Theft Auto," like the woman voice that does it, and they have like
Yeah,
a
yeah,
long 20. Usually, from what I can gather, that usually comes out like 90 days before the game comes out, which would put that at about like
yeah.
September. So, but that's not like necessarily trailer 3, I don't think. But like another like story trailer, does that are we going to see that in August potentially before the onrush of September games? And when is GTA Online coming? Because I know everybody moved out of the way. Everybody pushed their games to the September or October, and then if they couldn't fit it in, they were like, "We're early 2027, February, March." But if GTA Online is not at launch, which it doesn't seem like it, and it's not in December, is there a chance that all these games move to February to avoid GTA just get hit with GTA Online? The launch of it? You know what I mean? Like everybody like Fable and like the new God of War game and Tomb Raider and all these games are like, phew, we avoided GTA. And then like here comes the announcement GTA Online comes in February, and then Fable still gets hit with it because like do people delay games again because you're afraid of GTA Online at that point? What do you think, Jez?
I mean, I don't know, man. I think at some point you just have to launch your game. You can't just live in perpetual fear of Grand Theft Auto. It's kind of interesting. I was just looking at Take-Two's share price, and it's flat. Like GTA, the pre-orders, like they've they've increased the share price by 5%, but all that's done is offset losses from the rest of the year. Like the Take-Two share price is flat. Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I don't know.
I think
We have a super
I
chat here
think
from LA Chargers fan that says bought a Series X and a PS5 at release, got lucky, and got a 3080 when D-Batch posted a link. Sold my PS5 and Series X since was on PC. Ended up buying a Series X for 578 Target sale before price hike for GTA. Well, good for you, buddy. Spider-Man says my favorite GTA 6 rumor is that it'll have parades. The left gets inclusion and the right can blow it up with the tank. It's a win-win for everybody. Yeah, I mean, I've seen people saying that, like, that's going to have parades and everybody can just run over people and just destroy it as you can in GTA. We'll see if that happens. Crypto says the main issue is the only 3 companies making RAM. Yeah, that is a problem. Val Kilmore says, just seen that Rockstar is only promoting the PS5 version in their trailer 2 video. Sony, I believe, spent at least 1 to 2 AAA development money to Rockstar. I
you
guess
would
it
be correct
depends.
about that.
I guess it depends on which. Was it like 2 Call of Duties? Sounds about right, right?
Mm, I do wonder if any mainstream journalists will report on how much Sony paid for that marketing deal, because some of the numbers I've heard are quite spicy.
Well, I mean, hey, you pay that type of money for it. I mean, everybody, they're only gonna promote the PS5 version, and they're gonna have it plays best on PS5. regardless of
Yeah.
whether it does or not. Like, because at least they can say the DualSense controller changes it, and that's not something Xbox has. But then PlayStation doesn't have quick resume, and I'm sure like the Digital Foundry videos are gonna be like, which version is actually better, the base PS5 or the Series X stuff? Because I mean, clearly the Pro version is gonna be the best. So Juan says,
PC version
I
is
love
going to be
San
the best.
Andreas and Vice City as a kid, but I got bored with GTA 5. I tried multiple times and got bored after a couple hours each time. Yeah, well, guess what? There's no
GTA
PC
isn't for
version at
everyone.
launch,
Like,
Jez. So,
yeah, there isn't. I prefer Red Dead. Like, I've always preferred Red Dead to GTA. I think it's just a bit more interesting. I never really enjoy the contemporary setting that much in any game. Like, I think that's one reason I don't like Persona. I know it's got demons and shit in it, but I don't know. I just prefer, like, I don't know. But you just can't deny the quality of Grand Theft Auto. You can be like, it's not for you or whatever, but the game is just Rockstar is just on another level. They are like they can become the benchmark, don't they? The benchmark that everyone wants to chase. And you can see in games like The Witcher and whatever, they're all looking at Grand Theft Auto 5 as the benchmark. And now they'll look at Grand Theft Auto 6. You know, I wonder if do you think they're going to make Red Dead Redemption 3? Right?
who knows what Rockstar does at this point? I mean, you think they would, but I guess where do you even take the story, considering Red Dead 2 had to be a prequel? Do you do another prequel? Is there more story to even
Yeah,
tell? There probably is. It probably have to be another prequel, right?
yeah, maybe. Maybe they could do something, completely different. But then that didn't work out particularly well for Bethesda with Starfield. I don't know.
Yeah, it sure didn't it?
Yep.
Um, yeah, you know what? Let's do some Patreon questions, shall we?
Let's do it, bro.
And then get out of here so you can enjoy your vacation. So let's see what we get here, Jez. Let me see. All right, we have iMike0 says, "Congrats on the engagement, Jez. I have to ask, as a wrestling fan, have you thought about having an entrance song at your wedding? And what would it be?"
Entrance song. Oh man, I don't know. I mean, I suppose you'd have to pick something appropriate for the occasion, right?
No, you don't
I'd
have
pick
to.
I suppose. I would pick Final Fantasy music, the intro to Final Fantasy 6 on piano. Let's do that.
Okay. Um, Pat Rex says, "What if Helix got delayed to 2029 and maybe gave us a refresh series instead? I've asked this before, but with everything that's been happening pricing, it's never been more needed. Just imagine a Series S with higher clock speeds, 2 more gigs of RAM, and the NPU from the Helix to run FSR Diamond. All packaged in a smaller, more cost-effective design. Maybe find a way to bring it back down to 349. Call it the Series E." I mean,
Yeah,
if the Helix was supposed to come out in 2027, I don't think you can delay it 2 years. And
no.
I don't know, like refreshing the Series S to do all those other things. I don't really. I mean, everything we've seen with Microsoft with all their consoles, like they don't care about consoles, or at least they don't care about the current consoles. So I don't really see them. Maybe I'll be completely wrong. I don't see them going back and redoing anything with the Series X or S. They're just going to ride that shit out. They're going to have whatever they have for this fall, and they're probably going to be like, "Oop, we're done." Especially considering where the prices are. Uh, I mean, I love to be wrong. I love to be like, oh, basically, like, yeah, we did go back and we rejiggered the stuff, and guess what? Series X and S are a lot cheaper. I just don't think they're going to do that. I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I just really don't. Uh, Sowing Shade says, "It feels a bit silly to ask this in these bleak times of austerity, but do you imagine there's even a remote possibility of Microsoft taking what remains of Bungie off of Sony's hands? Doubtful. With the stated intent of expanding their investment in their core franchises, surely bolstering Halo Studios with the turn of their forerunners, sorry, would fall into that bucket. Of course, this would be an exchange between direct competitors, but perhaps Sony is eager to detach from the 3.7 billion acquisition to be willing to play ball. Or perhaps this is just a wishful thinking of someone who doesn't want to see the complete and total demise of a legendary studio that still remains full of talented, passionate human beings. Thanks for your time and as always for the show, and congratulations on the engagement, Jeds. I just don't see PlayStation
Thanks so
selling
much.
anything to Xbox because I. 'Cause now this may be me projecting on these companies, but like, for instance, Ninja Theory, like rumors are that they added Senua to the showcase because they wanted to help get a buyer, right? And honestly, like, there's a part of me that thinks like if Sony came calling and said, "We'll take Ninja Theory off your hands," I think Microsoft would say no because I think there'd be embarrassment that if Sony bought Hellblade or if they bought Ninja Theory and then actually did something better with that company and made the franchise bigger, then that's like a total embarrassment to the people at Xbox and would speak
It's kind of
volumes.
what happened with in a sort of not total and complete way, but that's kind of what happened with Insomniac because Microsoft worked with them on. They
Yeah.
weren't owned by Microsoft, but Microsoft worked with them on Sunset Overdrive, which was flop, and then Insomniac went full steam ahead with PlayStation and delivered some of the biggest games of the generation. So
Yeah, so like with Bungie, I know like the whole live service stuff with them hasn't been good, but like I don't really see like Sony trying to sell them back to Microsoft just on the off chance that Microsoft or whatever like somehow gets them to actually release like a, you know, a better live service than they could and the embarrassment that would follow. Maybe that's unrealistic and those sort of like thinking don't don't happen within the halls of these companies, but I sort of feel like they would. I don't know, I feel like if you were the ones who were like doing planning stuff with like Ninja Theory and then you had to sell them because their games didn't make enough money or they weren't big enough and then you sold them to PlayStation and who then like made them a huge company and made their game super big, like wouldn't you be fucking embarrassed? Like, you know what I
mm.
mean? I don't know.
I tell you one thing though. One thing that I think could possibly happen is that Microsoft picks up some of the execs that are leaving once
Sure.
their
Yeah, maybe
non-compete
they like form a new
and
studio and then like Jason Jones apparently got laid off. If he decides to build a new studio, yeah, then maybe you can go and create like a, you know, work with them on a new studio. But no, I don't see them selling to Xbox.
no.
Um, let's see here. Uh, John says, "Hi, Rand and Jez, and congrats on the engagement, Jez. What hurts Xbox more now, launching Helix at a premium, or waiting years for component prices to fall? Despite the Micron news, a pricey new console right now feels like a risky move for the brand. But the thing was, that's what it was going to be, wasn't it? Sarah Bond talked about it being a premium console, a premium high-end console before like this most recent price hike and the one before it. So
Mm.
we always knew it was going to be a premium system. In fact, we were saying like I expected it to at least be $1,000. Has anything really changed? Because remember, I made the
Mm.
argument like if you were releasing Helix at like $1,200 and you had to raise the price of all these things to like 1,400 or whatever, I argued that it doesn't matter because the person who was in it at 1,200 is probably also in it for at 1,400, right? So I yeah, I
What
don't
if it's
know.
a series console? What if it's like, what if they consider it to be in the series ecosystem and they just keep the Series S and X going and going and going?
We'll see what they do next year with them. I mean, next year will tell us a lot. Like after the launch of GTA 6 and if they raise prices again and like how many they actually make. I mean, if nobody's buying, because you also figure retailers are retailers going to dedicate any space to an Xbox that is consistently being like nobody's buying these fucking things? Are they going to want to stock
Mm,
any of them? Because I mean,
yeah.
if you want to get like technical, like Microsoft, Xbox, and PlayStation's customers are Best Buy, Amazon, and all these other places. Like they buy those consoles from them, and then we buy it from those stores. You could say it's blurred the line a little bit because like Sony sells direct now, that you can buy it directly from them. But if you're Best Buy and an Xbox Series X is $1,000, but you're shifting two a month or whatever it would be, is that even worth it for you to even buy in stock? I don't know. I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
There's got to be a point where the answer is no, but we'll see. Yeah.
Goggles Lens says, with the price increases, I think the name of next gen is use what you already have. I will be shocked if Helix does not have a storage expansion card slot. Why have the cost of the product been more when you can use what the customer has? For an enthusiast, I think the 512 gigabyte is borderline not usable for what we want it to have in it. I hope for Helix they go for the Steam Machine route and make it so you can take out and put in your own panel type things, even have the design labable to make your own custom panels. Better than people needing to buy another console to get a different looking one when you can use your still working one, just make it look different. In this price high landscape, what do you guys think of you're able to reuse what you already have mentality of Helix?
I mean, that's a good point. Like, what if they shipped Helix an option without any fucking memory at all and let you use your Xbox Series S and X expansion drive as the memory? Because it connects directly to the PCIe slot, to the motherboard or whatever.
I was thinking they're gonna drop that for the console. I if I had
I
to,
mean, they might do, but like, it could be a
I
way
was reading
to
that I was
like,
reading
if I've got,
that specific
uh,
memory or whatever that Xbox uses was more susceptible to the price increases than like the ones that PlayStation used, which you couldn't you couldn't know that at the beginning of the generation when you were made that decision. But I mean, I think it's more likely that Xbox just goes the way of like there's like a stick of what do they call it? What is the one that PlayStation uses? Like what's it called, Jazz?
NVMe, NVMe,
That they just use that,
whatever.
right?
I mean,
So I, unless there's
yeah,
like
it's
they need to have the storage stuff for backwards compatibility reasons, like the not the but like the storage drive for back compat reasons or something. But
it's hard to say. I mean, personally speaking, yes, the type of memory they went with, which is like these little sort of M2 drives, which you get in you get in laptops. I think the Xbox Alloy's got one in, right? M.2 drives. So these like little sort of laptop kind of storage chips. And then you've got like the expansion cards, which is CF Express, and CF Express is virtually proprietary format. So like, but like, if a lot of people probably got those storage expansion cards, what if they sold this Helix that didn't have any storage at all and just let you put the CF Express cards in it? It would function as if it had onboard storage at that point. So I do think like comes back to what I was saying at the start of the show. The innovation next gen is going to be in efficiency and doing more with less. Sell it like Steam is selling a console without a controller.
yeah, but it's a
What
PC.
if
It's a PC. It's a consoleized PC. So
Helix is a PC?
not. I
Helix is
mean,
a fucking PC.
sure, but
Not really. It is.
it's a console.
It's it's as much as a PC as Steam Machine is a PC. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
and I would argue. I would in fact argue. I would argue Helix is more. If Helix has full Windows desktop, I would argue Helix is more of a PC than Steam Machine is.
so then why not? So then why not ship one with just no controller then?
Maybe they will. Let us use our existing controllers. I've said that in the previous show.
Sure.
I don't know.
I mean,
We'll
I
see,
guess
man.
there's a lot of things they could do. Well, maybe you're right. Maybe they do that, and they lower the price that way somehow. And it's like, by the way, this thing that you just bought doesn't come with any memory. Hope you buy the memory that you had you can use. Oh man,
No, it'd be an option. It'd be like the Xbox 360 arcade. The Xbox 360 arcade didn't come with a hard drive. And I know it was a
sure.
different time where we could run a game from the disc, but
Yes,
see, we're going back in time.
I know.
Like, AI is making us go back to the Stone Age, so maybe that's what happens. And it's
Yeah,
like, okay, you can buy a Helix, but you can buy an Xbox Helix Arcade, which doesn't come with any storage. Use your own storage.
yeah. Okay, all right. Yeah, no. We got C Woody who says hello, Rand, and the newly fiance Jez. I keep seeing people say they should delay the Helix hardware indefinitely. The way I understand it, they are too far along the process to do this, and it would only result in shipping underpowered hardware years later. Shipping the Helix reference model will also allow OEMs to produce cheaper devices that people are claiming we need. Am I missing something? Thanks. I don't think you're missing anything. As I'm not too keen up on how all this works, but I think you laid it out correctly, right?
I think so.
Yeah. Sick and Tired says, "Hey boys, congrats, Jazz, on the engagement. In the celebration of it, I still watch a couple episodes of Off Wondersion, Pet. My question is this: Microsoft makes about $5 billion from Game Pass, which is meant to pay for the games we saw from Compulsion, Double Fine, etc. Microsoft can't now claim lack of sales as a reason to close these studios when the reality is Game Pass could fund 50 games the size of Avowed or Outer Worlds 2 every year. It's just greed. What say ye?" I mean, greed, absolutely. Line's got to go up, though. Always remember, line has to go up. And while Game Pass makes $5 billion a year, they had projected it would make a lot more than that at this stage of the game. I mean, I think at this stage of the game, they were expecting 60 million subscribers, which would give them a lot more than 5 billion. Probably like 10 billion or whatever would be if they're at 5 billion now. So, like, they probably run the numbers or whatever, and it's just and not doing what we thought it would doing, or it's not growing like we thought. So, like, we can't continue to go on this path. Plus, new management and all the things that change that with that. But I
I think
mean,
like one of the things one of the things you really have to look at when companies make these decisions is it's less about like we need to save money or well sometimes it is that, but I think like Ash has been pretty transparent about what they actually want to do here. So it's like it's less about like we need to shrink. It's more about like where are our future bets going to be. And one of the things they keep talking about is we need a studio for Halo, we need a studio for Fallout, you know. And I think like what we're seeing here is I don't think Xbox's budget is going to go down. I think we're seeing the reallocation of resources to some degree. We're going to see like Microsoft, like potentially a lot of the devs that are going to get laid off will probably find new employment in another new studio that Microsoft makes. Potentially the Fallout studio, which we've talked about before, or like if they make a dedicated Fallout team to make Fallout 5, or if they want to grow Halo Studios to be like to really deliver a game that can become that multimedia property, which Microsoft's always dreamed Halo could be, forgetting the Paramount TV show exists. But there is still a huge amount of potential with the Halo franchise. But it's just like you've got to invest to get there, I think, and you can't really put a compulsion or a Double Fine on those kind of games. That it's not really what they signed up for at the end of the day. So like I think some of it is capital reallocation more than anything. Um, but it really does remain to be seen how they execute some of this stuff. At the end of the day, if you are like, sure, they could keep compulsion and Double Fine going, but it's are they actually like are they making games that create a huge rush or growth for Game Pass or the platform? And if they're not, like just being cold-hearted about it, thinking in terms of like how the bean counters and the spreadsheets think about it, could the art of Compulsion's games be sacrificed to reallocate resources to hire some devs for Halo Studios to deliver a Halo game, which could potentially become a TV show or a merchandising operation, that kind of thing. So I think that's part of the thinking. If you read between the lines, or not even between the lines, what Ash was saying. Ash was literally saying this. They want to invest in Halo and Fallout, that kind of thing. So I suppose it is greed at the end of the day because they want to have a bigger Halo so they can make more money. But
How
Halo has more potential than South of Midnight 2.
how does it feel to know that she wants to invest more in Halo, but didn't mention Gears at all? How's that feel for you?
Mm,
How's it also feel where she
well,
didn't
the
she
thing, the
didn't
thing is,
she didn't
Gears,
mention
Gears,
any
is-
she didn't
Gears.
she didn't mention World of
That, that, that,
Warcraft,
that,
she
that,
didn't mention
that, that, that,
Blizzard, she didn't
that, that,
mention
that, shush, 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 shush.
any of that.
These are studios like Gears doesn't need more because Gears is already popping off on all cylinders.
Yeah. Okay.
Like Gears has had several great games, whereas Halo hasn't had a great game since potentially Halo 4, being real, and even that is debatable, really. So, that's why she didn't mention Gears. She didn't need to. Gears is getting a TV show, it's getting a movie, where Gears is set, Gears is okay. It's Halo that is like in
Hmm.
desperate need of help. And maybe Microsoft picks up some of the Bungie vets who worked on Halo previously. You know,
I
we'll
mean,
see what happens.
how does it also feel that you're never going to get the conclusion to the Gears storyline? Kate,
Ah, shut up, man.
yeah, uh-huh.
Shut up. Shut up.
Um, hey Blink, Rand, I tried to Google Surfshark and came up with nothing. Really? Well, I think if you Google SHURF, it probably doesn't come up with that. But Surfshark, did I
I, th-
say it wrong?
I think I think he's mocking your
Don't mock
addiction,
me
right?
for saying things
He's
wrong.
mocking your diction.
Surfshark, 86% off 2-year deal. Surfshark.com/XB2. Links in the description. Uh,
Yo.
So, what do we have here? We have Frosty who says, "Hey guys, does the Steam machine interest you guys in any way at all, or the concept of Steam OS rivaling a console experience in living room?" Rand, I know you don't do PC gaming partly because it's not a streamlined experience on console. So, has the Steam machine changed your mind at all about that? Maybe a more powerful iteration in the future might interest you if Xbox can't land the software experience on Halo or on Helix. No, it doesn't interest me one bit. I own one game on Steam, so like the idea of the Steam box, the Steam machine for just one thing has zero interest. Like I don't it the thing's not for me whatsoever. I mean, I guess if you could argue, well, if like Xbox canceled Helix, let's say hypothetically, and hardware's done from the Xbox perspective, like we're out because it just costs too much money. Where would I play? Would I just choose to play on PlayStation or would I just play on PC? I mean, there's a reason why I'm looking smarter all the time here, Jazz, when I decided to buy this 4090 and future proof myself. You guys all laughed at me when I did, but looking pretty smart right now. Um, I probably use that. I don't know. I don't like. I just don't have. I just own anything on PC to be like, all right, well, I'm gonna get a Steam machine and now I'm gonna start buying stuff there. I don't know. Um, Glenn says, hey, and congrats, Jez. Recent reports show the lowest PlayStation Xbox sales since the Middle Ages. Clearly, these price hikes have crossed a threshold that is inhibiting purchases. Is it time to revive This Is an Xbox? I hated that campaign, but that was before the $500 Series S. Think of the optics. You can play GTA 6 and all you need is a controller and a Fire Stick. Thoughts? Ooh. No, This Is an Xbox ad was awful. There's a reason they got rid of it right away. Uh,
I do
so
think I do wonder how much. One thing that I'm going to write about this soon, but one thing that really bugs me about Microsoft is how shit their marketing is. We've talked about it time and time again, but Microsoft literally has Forza, which is the biggest racing game on earth, and I've seen no marketing for it. And more specifically, I've seen no marketing against the Xbox ecosystem for Forza. I haven't seen get an Xbox with Forza and or even like get xCloud with Forza or anything. I haven't seen nothing. They don't market against Call of Duty, and I think there's like some legal regulatory things stopping that from happening. But there's nothing stopping them from marketing Minecraft against Xbox. There's nothing stopping them from marketing like some of their other things against Xbox. They don't do any of that, and it's really really shit. So I think it is about time we had some fucking real marketing for the Xbox ecosystem, whether it's PC, cloud, or whatever. Because, like, if you look at mobile gaming, it's 100% marketing. Like, and Microsoft has this mentality, this like decades-long mentality of if we build something, they will come. And I think they've developed this culture from having a Windows monopoly for so many years and just thinking like, if it's good enough, we don't need to market it. That's just not how the world fucking works. We live in like an attention deficit universe now where people like constantly move on to the next best thing, and we're seeing this issue play out right now with Candy Crush, because one underreported thing about Xbox's financials right now is that Candy Crush is suffering huge declines, because they're not marketing it anymore, and casual rivals like Monopoly Go, they're doing blitzkrieg marketing, and all those kind of like that cohort of gamers that play games like Candy Crush or Monopoly Go, they're all going to the game that's being marketed and pushed towards them, the game they're seeing all the time, the new hotness. I don't know why Microsoft has this mentality of zero marketing. So while This Is an Xbox campaign was fucking awful, something, please do some marketing. That'd be great. But I got a feeling we're going to get less marketing with the layoffs pending.
Yeah, and
Ugh.
I don't think you'll be able to play GTA 6 and all you need is a controller as a Fire Stick. That's not going to work because GTA 6 is not going to be in cloud gaming. I'll tell you that right now, and it's definitely
Do you
not
know
going
that
to
for
be an
sure?
Xbox Play Anywhere. I don't know that for
It's not going to be
sure.
play anywhere, but I I think it might be on cloud, bro.
I don't think it'll be on cloud. I think like the deal with Sony is going
I
to.
can find
I
out.
think the deal with Sony is going to preclude it from being an Xbox Cloud watch.
Oh, maybe you're right.
Yeah, it's not going to be in cloud. I mean,
It will
I
eventually.
almost feel like being like, I bet you anything is not gonna. I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm not a betting man either. But like, I don't see it.
Mm,
Um, but maybe you can find out. Silas
I'll
says,
try.
"Congrats, Jez. Hopefully, you will put World of Warcraft subscription card on the gift registry. You'll need it with the upcoming Xbox layoffs, hardware price increases, etc. Isn't it a bad look to be investing in these Xbox Fan Fest events? If that money was earmarked for marketing, I don't know, maybe they should have tried to secure GTA marketing and have the Series X the best place to play GTA. Well, I mean, the FanFest events are marketing. Uh, but do those events do those are the cost of the FanFest events reach up to whatever the marketing agreement for GTA is? Plus,
No.
yeah, the answer to that question is no. Plus, I think whatever Sony paid for the marketing, I bet you Xbox would have paid more for similar like let's just say for example, Sony paid $700 million for the marketing rights, right? They have the bigger user base. So if you wanted to align yourself with the smaller one, I bet you Rockstar would be like, we could do that, sure, but guess what? That'll cost 1.5 billion because we're handicapping
Yeah,
ourselves.
Xbox would have to pay a premium.
So they
Yeah,
would have to
you're
actually
right.
pay more. Let's see what else we got here. We have Shay Elephant says, "Happy Friday, Rand and Jez. My question this week is: should winning awards mean something in the spreadsheet for an entertainment company that Asha wants Xbox to become? I'm talking about Compulsion and Stop the Midnight here. Thank you and congrats, Jez. I would say if those awards brings more sales, then yes, because usually awards mean like the games are good, but winning, I'll be honest here, winning some Canadians awards that nobody even knows about, that nobody watched, that's not going to push anything for anything. So,
Hmm.
it maybe if you won like a game award of like best game, and I'm not even sure some of those other awards like games for impact or some of the smaller awards mean anything at all, period. But I think they've talked about like, hey, if you win like best, game of the year or whatever, it does actually lead to more sales. But it's just the type of award it is. So I personally don't think best Canadian game means much in the sales department. So
Best Canadian game?
yeah, that's what it won. It won best Canadian game.
No, nobody cares about Canada.
Don't say that about our Canadian friends. Um,
I really like Vancouver, man. I visited Vancouver like a few years ago. I want to go back there. At least to be a bit cooler, maybe. God.
we have good old Conwood. Hey, Rand and Jez, let me be the first to congratulate Jez on his nuptials, which I will be, seeing that you read the Patreon questions from latest to earliest. I just scroll to the bottom and go up. Rand, your part in Jez's wedding is to find something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue. What within your powers do you bring, knowing that you know people and money is no object? Something old, something new. I don't know, man. Something old, probably. I'd give him like the box that came with my World of Warcraft purchase back in like 1992. Like
Me
the
too.
like the Warcraft 1 box or Warcraft 3 box, something
Oh
new.
shit.
I'd um I'd get him a World of Warcraft lore book,
Oh sweet.
something
There,
borrowed.
there actually is a Warcraft lore book that I
Yeah,
don't have. That's out recently. So yeah, GG.
something borrowed. I don't know, something borrowed. I'd
It's
let
something
him
of yours that you give to me.
I'd let him log into my account so he can feel what it's like to actually beat games for a day.
Uh,
And something blue, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I give him a Smurf.
oh, bro, I literally thought Rand's gonna say a Smurf.
I mean, that's the only thing I
He's
can
gonna
think
say the
of.
first.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
first.
he's gonna say the first fucking thing that came into his head, and I was like, Rand's gonna say a Smurf. I knew, fucking psychic, bro. I knew
Yeah.
you were gonna say Smurf. Do you know what's German? You know what's German for Smurf?
What?
Schlumpf.
Mm. We have Murray who says, "What do you think will be the main reason for studio's closure? Bad performance in the past, no good ideas for the next games. The studio just doesn't fit the new strategy. Probably a combination of one and three.
Yeah, it's not fitting the strategy is probably a big one.
Yeah, if I had to guess, probably a combination of doesn't fit the strategy and didn't make any money. I guess."
Yeah.
Mr. Logan says, first off, congrats on the engagement. Question: any chance for Xbox to reverse course in some studios and keep them rather than shutter or spin off sell?
Well, one thing I have heard is that they desperately they don't want to shut down studios if they can help it. So I think there could be a situation where like they can't find a buyer and maybe they see through like for example, I think if they can't find a buyer for Ninja Theory, I think they will probably try and see Senua through personally. And after that, who knows? But I think they've very much got a mindset that they want to allocate resources and to Halo and Fallout right now. So I think another route could be like maybe a studio agrees to become a support studio on one of the bigger franchises. You know, we just have to wait and see. It really sucks speculating on people's jobs and shit like that, but this is you know, this is the situation we're in, I guess.
Roses from Rave Demos. Roses are red, violets are blue, Jez's engaged. Let's fucking go. Xbox 2. There we go. Get a nice little poem there.
I like that.
Tylus says, curious with all the possible project changes, what do you think Obsidian will be working on? Tim Kaine had only recently returned to work at Xbox just before Asha joined on a game he said no one would guess. I don't know. I mean, I think Tim Kaine joined before Asha showed up, so it's possible they come in and they basically turn Obsidian into just the grounded studio or a grounded and avowed studio or they change they basically tell Tim Kaine you're working on the Fallout game, buddy. Too bad. I don't know.
I do think like it's weird because there is obviously a lot of potential with Obsidian's franchises and world. Like it's painful knowing how much lore Pillars of Eternity has. Like truly, the Eternity universe is fantastic. Like the lore, the gods, the cosmology. I absolutely love what they built for that universe, but they haven't really done the best of it. And they've got to be looking at like Baldur's Gate 3 and thinking like, Jesus Christ, you know, what if we did for Pillars what Baldur's Gate 3? I mean, Baldur's Gate 3 obviously helped by the fact that it's Dungeons and Dragons, but if you took the quality of that game and applied it to the Pillars of Eternity universe, you would want to believe that you'd probably print a lot of money. So, but I hate the idea of them squandering the opportunity they have they've got Brian Fargo, Tim Kaine, Josh Sawyer, Todd Howard. They've got all these legends under one roof. Like, build a new fucking Fallout, man. Just do it. Oh, just build a Fallout, man. Maybe Tim Kaine's working on Fallout 1 remake and it's
Maybe.
like CRPG.
Sharky says, great news, Jez, and big congrats. My question is, why is Microsoft so leaky? Asha's memo dropped and the leaks immediately went into overdrive. Because Microsoft has a lot of people that work for it, a lot of people with a lot of things, and things get leaked out to different people. They're a gigantic company. It's basically impossible to keep things under control. And then like leaks in general, like once like shit gets sent out to third party agencies for artwork or something, people talk,
Yeah,
shit like
it's a
that.
lot of middle management layers, a lot of cloud stuff. Like I remember I had a leak once when someone in Microsoft accidentally CC'd me in a calendar invite, and I was like, "Hang on a sec, what is this?" I've kind of got to run this now, you know. So I think like when you are a big company that relies on technology for communication, like things just leak, right? But there is a ton of misinformation out there right now. That thing you guys saw, you might have seen posted on Blind, some Microsoft employee anonymously posted on Blind that World's Edge and World's Edge, the Age of Empires and Flight Simulator teams are being shut down. Like that's misinformation for one thing, but there's just so much misinformation flying out there because Microsoft is so leaky and people are trying to get clout and or just twist the knife or get revenge on a company that wronged them, rightly or wrongly. It's it's just shitty time, man. It's a really shitty time. The industry's just stressed.
Did you see
Fucking.
this? PlayStation is
Mhm.
deleting over 500 purchased movies from its customers' accounts. Includes films like Terminator 2, Rambo, Apocalypse Now, Hot Fuzz, and Moonlight. Comes after a licensing deal ended. As of September
Holy
1st,
shit.
2026, due to our content licensing arrangements, you will no longer be able to watch any of your previously purchased Studio Canal content, and the content will be removed from your video library. Thank you, PlayStation Store.
Refunds?
I doubt it.
Refunds?
Probably all laid out perfectly in terms of terms of service that they can do it at whatever.
I yeah, I own like 300 movies on Xbox movies and TV
Yeah.
series and stuff. If Microsoft deletes that shit from my account, I will be fucking livid.
Well, I mean, it's also they can probably delete all the games off your account too if they wanted to. You don't really own anything digitally,
You don't
truly.
own anything. No, Don't.
So,
You definitely don't. And that right there is 100% proof of that fact.
hmm. Let me
Maybe
see.
piracy was the right way all along.
Yeah, good old piracy. Let me scroll down and see if I missed anything else. And podcasting like
We got
this
some
is
super chats.
hurts my neck.
Yeah.
We have Rave Damos says Jez Honeymoon Fund. Appreciate that. Wagerman
Thanks, buddy.
says, "Hey guys, perfect timing listening to you on the way home. Maybe they should do an Xbox branded instant ramen for all those that want a Series X but can't afford food." Just kidding. Love you guys. I mean, I like Jez's idea, which you've had before, of like an actual redesign of the Series X and S, where it's like cheaper, smaller, and you can get the cost under control, and maybe you could get extra mileage out of it while you delay Helix a year or two or something. I just don't think
Yeah.
there's a part of me that just thinks they
Sell it
don't
without a controller.
like they don't care. Or the idea of it like Asha coming in now like imagine if because clearly
Ashika.
well okay let me say this. I don't think Phil and Sarah cared, so I don't think that work would have started. So even if Asha had come in and been like, this is something we need to do, it probably would still take some time. Like those sort of hardware changes do take a little bit of time. So even if that were the case where she came in, she looked at it and be like, we need to do this, you know, the lead like we'd still be waiting for the fruits of that or whatever, you know? Because it definitely
Yeah.
seemed like previous regime was basically just they were done with Series X and S. There's whatever, you know. But anyways, I think that is it. We're gonna send Jez back out here because you're in a hotel with your girl celebrating your engagement. I'm over here with a broken podcast setup, which means I gotta buy some stuff. And hopefully everybody has a better weekend than me, and as good as a weekend as Jez. If you want to support us, you can at patreon.com/xb2 or check out our sponsor,
Rawr.
surfshark.com/xb2. We get 86% off a 2-year deal. And we will be back next week. When are you actually going to be home?
In theory, I'll be home tomorrow.
Okay.
So we'll see. Because I've got to drive well, my girlfriend's got to drive the broken car 400 kilometers. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. So we will be back
Should
next
be fun.
week to see what happens. Maybe layoffs next week.
Yeah.
July. That's so maybe
I
that
heard
week or the week second week of
Yeah, I
July.
heard after. What's that American thing you do on July the 4th?
Celebrate us beating the shit out of you guys.
Fake news.
Mm. Then
Um,
we kicked the shit out of the
I
British.
wasn't it something about throwing the tea away in the
I'm
ocean?
pretty sure it was like we basically kicked the shit out of all the British people.
Wasn't it France? I think it wasn't. Didn't France and Spain help America beat Britain? And that
Ah,
actually Britain was doing pretty great until that point. So basically, it was like three countries ganging up on Britain. It wasn't really fair fight, really. To be fair, I think.
mm.
Although my history isn't particularly good. But anyways, I digress. I heard that they might wait until after Independence Day.
All right. Well,
So
that's Saturday next week. So
yeah, we'll see. It's painful. It's
uh,
shitty time.
yeah. But until then, have a great weekend. Keep it gaming, and we'll see you later.
Keep it gaming, guys.